Chapter 4886. The people of the Divine Union were also stunned. Bai Susu was even more surprised. Lin Xian actually had such a connection with the Dugu family. It was really hard to believe. The others were in an uproar. It seemed like Lin Xian was prepared. It was no wonder that he dared to compete with the Dragon Palace. Some people also said that the Nalan family and the Dugu family were not bad. However, they were still weak compared to the Dragon Palace. Indeed. How many experts were there beside the Dragon Prince in the Dao Palace? Lin Xian only had 2 experts beside him. They were not enough to be feared. The people of the Dragon Palace also regained their composure and sneered. I want to see how big of a storm you can stir up. Xiaoyi, hurry up and give young Master Lin a congratulatory gift. Old Master Dugu said to Dugu Xiaoyi. Dugu Xiaoyi nodded and walked out to greet young Master Lin. With a smile, she flipped her hand and took out a treasure box. There were 3 leaves inside. What was this? The surrounding people were stunned. Lan Ziyu and the people of the Dragon Palace sneered. This was a trap for that kid. They were all watching a good show. The people of the Divine Union were also confused. Lin Xian's pupils constricted, and he took a deep breath. Then, he waved his hand, causing the 3 leaves to appear in his hand. Many thanks to Senior Dugu. Lin Xian was too happy. The 3 leaves contained a terrifying sword aura. Old Master Dugu said. It's good that young master likes it. These are the 3 sword leaves left behind by the top swordsman of the Dugu family 30,000 years ago. They contain the supreme sword Dao and are now given to young master. What? Something left behind by the Dugu sword demon. Hearing this, the surrounding people were stunned. Then, they all gasped. The Dugu sword demon was incredible. Back then, he had led the Dugu family to the peak. Back then, the Dugu family was not afraid of the remote antiquity family. Besides the remote antiquity family, who had emperor weapons, no one was a match for the Dugu family. In that era, the Dugu sword demon had swept through everything with his iron sword. How could something left behind by him be weak? In an instant, countless people exclaimed. The eyes of the Dragon Palace people turned red. Damn it, what was going on? The Dugu clan had actually taken out such a good item. At the side, Nalanda also smiled. Look, I forgot that I also prepared something for young master. I hope that young master can accept this world core. The reason why the 8th elder, Nalanda, was able to become the clan leader was all because of Lin Xian. That was why he had given Nalanda a world. The surrounding people exclaimed in surprise again. The people of Dragon Palace were mad with anger. Damn it, how could this kid have such good luck? On the other hand, the people from the Divine Union were extremely excited. This was great. Did they see that? They were not without foundation. The Divine Union was elated. Following which, more and more powerhouses arrived. At that moment, a voice was heard and resounded throughout the area. The fire dragons had arrived. They were fire dragons. Many people cried out in alarm. This was also one of the dragons. Its strength was extremely terrifying. Inside the Dao Palace, the Dragon Prince's lips curled into a smile. Although the matter between the Nalan family and the Dugu family had caused him to frown, it was still not enough. But so what? The 2 families stood on the side of the Divine Union and still could not contend with the Dragon Palace. Obviously, the fire dragons had come to congratulate him. He sat there with a confident smile on his face. The fire dragons were led by the fire dragoness, who was followed by many powerhouses. She did not go to the Dao Palace. Instead, she walked directly to the side of the plaza. The Fire Dragon's clan leader was in seclusion. It seemed like he had sent his daughter over. Many people were discussing this. In that case, it was understandable that the other party did not go to the Dao Palace directly. After all, he was just a young man. However, everyone guessed that the other party was definitely on the side of the Dragon Palace. Everything else aside, they were all dragons. This made everyone know that the other party would definitely fight the Dragon Prince. The people of the Dragon Palace were excited once again. Lan Ziyu stood up and said, "Sister Dragoness, you are here." The Fire Dragoness glanced at him. Was this the Dragon Prince's cultivation partner? He did not seem like much. She thought to herself. However, she remained expressionless and nodded slightly as a greeting. This stunned Lan Ziyu. What was the meaning of this? Was she being ignored? Or was he looking down on her? The people of the Dragon Palace also frowned. At this moment, another figure stood up. This man was wearing dark armor and had an extraordinary aura. His name was Nan Gu, a top prodigy of the Black Dragon clan. If Lan Ziyu did not have enough face, then it should not be a problem for him to come out. His status was not inferior to the Wind Dragons at all. In fact, he was even stronger. Long time no see, Dragoness. Nan Gu greeted her. He was also acquainted with the other party. However, the Fire Dragoness only nodded. She had no intention of coming in. Instead, she walked to the palace next to her. Greetings, young Master Lin. The surrounding people were stunned. She was here for Lin Xian. How was that possible? She was from the Fire Dragon clan. Shouldn't she be on the Dragon Palace's side? The people of the Dragon Palace were stunned. Nan Gu's expression was ugly as he stood there in a daze. In the Dao Palace, the Dragon Prince's expression darkened. The wine cup in his hand also turned into powder with a crack. The dragons did not dare to come. Instead, they went to see Lin Xian. This made him very angry. Was this a slap to his face? The Fire Dragon race was truly courting death. However, the Fire Dragoness did not care about the gazes of others. She went to Lin Xian's side and began to congratulate him. She waved her hand and took out a jade bottle. This was 2 bottles of Fire Dragon Divine Liquid. I hope you don't mind. The surrounding people were stunned. This was the treasure of the Fire Dragon clan. Usually, it would not be passed on. However, it was given to Lin Xian. And 2 bottles. The dragoness was too polite. Please take a seat. Lin Xian gestured. Bai Susu smiled and took it. Then, she invited the dragoness and the others to take a seat. The people of the Divine Union were still in disbelief. They had not expected the Fire Dragon clan to stand on their side. Then, they laughed. Toad jumped out and walked to the Dragon Palace. Hey, does your face hurt? The dark red divine dragon snorted. I think some people are too arrogant. Do they really think they can cover the sky with one hand? Damn it. Nan Gu gritted his teeth. The people of the Dragon Palace were so angry that they vomited blood. In the Dao Palace, the leader of the Blue Clan said with a frown. Lin Xian was so powerful. What did he do to the Fire Dragon clan? Whatever it was. I will make the Fire Dragons pay the price. The Dragon Prince's expression was cold. His words carried a trace of killing intent. The leader of the Blue Clan and the others' eyes flickered. It looked like someone was going to be unlucky. No matter how strong Lin Xian was, could he really go against the Dragon Palace? They shook their heads and sneered. Chapter 4887. Long Ao was furious, and the people of the Dragon Palace were gritting their teeth. They had been slapped in the face. Everyone else was talking about it. It seemed that Lin Xian had really gathered a group of allies to fight against the Dragon Palace. However, it seemed that it was not enough. Even with the addition of the fire dragons, it seemed that it was not enough. The only thing they could do was to slap the Dragon Palace in the face. However, it would be very dangerous in the future. At that moment, a loud voice was heard in the distance. The Yi clan of the ancients had arrived. Everyone was in an uproar when they heard that. The Yi clan was not an ordinary clan of the ancients. It was an emperor clan, and they had extreme weapons. They were definitely top-notch. They were a true overlord. Did the Yi clan come too? Many people were shocked. Some people gasped. That was not right. Yi Wudao, the genius of the Yi clan, was cultivating in the heavenly sect. Why would he come to the Path sect? Everyone could not understand. Perhaps it was because Yi Wudao was in the celestial sect, but Yi Wudao was a member of the Blue clan. You should know that the heavenly sect has another emperor clan member, Kun Pengzi. His family was also an emperor clan, the Kunping clan. His background was not weaker than Yi Wudao's. However, Yi Wudao's talent was more powerful. Yi Wudao had the sacred body of the ancients, while Kun Pengzi was a true emperor clan member. The gap between the two was still very big. With Kun Pengzi around, Yi Wudao would only be second no matter how strong he was. I guess the Yi clan is here to join forces with the Dragon Prince. The two emperor clans belonged to different orthodoxies. If they joined forces, they would suppress Kun Pengzi. This way, it would be beneficial to both the Dragon Prince and Yi Wudao. As soon as that was said, everyone else nodded. That was indeed the case. After thinking about it, they felt that it was the only reasonable explanation. The Dragon Prince was doing his best to challenge the Holy Gulf Tower. Now that he was not here, should they inform him? The Wind Dragon's clan leader asked. However, the Dragon Prince said that the Dragon Prince did not allow anyone to disturb him. Let's go. As the second in command of the Dragon Palace, the Dragon Prince had infinite confidence that he could definitely represent the Dragon Palace. Alright, we are willing to follow. The Blue clan leader stood up, and so did the Wind Dragon's clan leader. The Lord of the Sky Knife Manor behind them. They all followed the Dragon Prince and walked outside. At the center of the square, there was a group of people. The people from the Yi clan had arrived, and the one leading them was the great elder of the Yi clan. Next to him was the young Yi Wudao, and behind him were a few experts from the Yi clan. Wherever they passed, the people around them greeted them. Greetings, Senior Yi. Young noble Wudao was becoming more and more powerful. In response to such greetings, Leaf Dao Denier and the Grand Elder simply nodded. After all, these people couldn't even be mentioned in the same breath as them. The others didn't dare to get angry because the two sides weren't on the same level. Even on the buried Emperor Star, the Yi family is one of the top families. The other clans of the remote antiquity were slightly inferior. Greetings, fellow Taoists of the Yi family. At this moment, a group of people walked towards them. The one leading them was the Dragon Crown Prince. The Wind Clan's clan head, the Blue Clan's clan head, and the Heavenly Saber Manor's clan head cupped their fists and greeted Xiao Qin. The members of the Yi family stopped, and the Great Elder nodded slightly. The Dragon Crown Prince smiled and walked over to greet the Yi family senior. This must be Brother Wudao, right? As expected, he was even more extraordinary than the rumors. The Dragon Crown Prince is too courteous. Leaf Dao Denier smiled. Long Ao said that the Dragon Prince was in seclusion to break through the Holy Gulf Tower, so he couldn't leave. Therefore, I represent the Dragon Prince and the Dragon Palace to welcome the Yi family senior. I hope Elder you won't take offense. Please. He made a gesture of invitation. The surrounding people exclaimed. Heavens, is the Dragon Palace going to join forces with the Yi family? This is too inconceivable. This way, the Dragon Palace would be even more terrifying. Who would be a match for the Dragon Palace? Previously, the Dragon Palace had a terrifying background. Not only did they have the support of the elders, but more importantly, the Dragon Prince had the backing of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. That was an emperor clan. Now, with the addition of the Yi family, that was 2 emperor clans. Even the Kunlun sect would have to back down. The members of the Dragon Palace stood up excitedly. Lan Ziyu, Nan Gu, and the others laughed. They stared at Lin Xian, their eyes emitting a cold radiance. Brat, the Dragon Palace is getting stronger. Let's see how you die. The others also shook their heads and sighed. This time, Lin Xian was really unlucky. He had kicked an iron plate. Yes, he still wanted to contend with the Dragon Palace. This time, it was completely impossible. The expressions of the Divine Union members changed drastically. They felt a huge pressure. Beside them, the members of the Dugu family, Nalan family, and Fire Dragon family looked solemn. Nalanda and Old Man Dugu did not regret it. Nalanda's position was given to him by Lin Xian. Old Man Dugu's life was saved by Lin Xian. The 2 of them stood firmly by Lin Xian's side. On the other hand, the people of the Fire Dragons looked gloomy. They did not agree previously. However, the Fire Dragon lady was stubborn and they could not stand on Lin Xian's side. Now, it seemed that they had completely offended the Dragon Palace. In the future, the Fire Dragons would be in danger if the Dragon Palace punished them. Toad, Dark Red Divine Dragon, Fu Hongya, and the others had strange expressions. Soon, they sneered. The Dragon Palace and the Yi family joining forces. What a joke. Let's see who kicked an iron plate. They knew the relationship between Yi Wudao and Lin Xian. At the thought of this, the Dark Red Divine Dragon and the others sneered. Ahead. The Yi family Grand Elder also smiled. The Dragon Prince was too polite. Everyone knew that the Dragon Prince was in seclusion to be crowned king. And this time, we're not here to look for the Dragon Prince. Not here to look for the Dragon Prince. The surrounding people were stunned. Even the Dragon Prince was stunned. Who was it? Could it be that they were looking for him? Were they looking at him? Because he was the same as Yi Wudao. They both had the ancient body and a powerful background. However, he was not the first person. Did Yi Wudao want to join forces with him? If so, it was not impossible. He was very excited. However, Yi Wudao did smile. He said, "We're here to congratulate Brother Lin." Brother Lin. Hearing this, the Dragon Prince was stunned. The smile on his face froze. The leaders of the Blue Clan, the Dragon Clan, and the others were also stunned. The others were in an uproar as they discussed madly. Who was Brother Lin? Who could be so important to the Yi family? Was there anyone with the surname Lin among the top experts of the Dao sect? There was one called Lin Zhoutian. It couldn't be him. Countless voices sounded. On the Xian ranking, there was a person called Lin Zhoutian who was also very strong. However, was it worth the Yi family to mobilize so many people? Could it be that Lin Zhoutian had a relationship with the Yi family that they did not know? Thinking of this, everyone felt even better. The Dragon Crown Prince's face darkened. He wasn't here for him or the Dragon Prince. Damn it, that Lin Zhoutian was so lucky. Chapter 4888. Lin Xian. Hearing this name, the surrounding people were stunned. The smile on the Dragon Prince's face disappeared instantly. His eyes widened in disbelief. Lin Xian. Which Lin Xian? He asked quickly. The leaders of the Blue Tribe and Wind Dragons were stunned as well. Could it be the Lin Xian they knew? What kind of joke was this? How could that kid be related to the Emperor clan? The others were also discussing this. Was it the Lin Xian from the Divine Union? That was impossible. Where did he get that kind of face? Leaf Dao Denier smiled, but didn't say anything. Instead, he headed toward one of the halls off to the side. Yi Wudao smiled. Brother Lin, we meet again. Wudao, you're too polite. You didn't even greet me when you came. Lin Xian stood up and walked over with a smile. The two of them chatted happily. It was obvious that they were old friends. Everyone was dumbfounded. The Yi family grand elder walked over. Lin Xian didn't dare to be careless. He cupped his fists and smiled. Greetings, seniors of the Yi family. The Yi family grand elder's eyes shone brightly. Young Master Lin was indeed extraordinary. Your physique seems to have become stronger than before. Lin Xian had the 9-yang divine body, so the Yi family naturally paid attention to him. Originally, they thought that Lin Xian's cultivation was weaker than Yi Wudao's. Although the 9-yang divine body was extraordinary, Lin Xian didn't have the support of the Emperor clan. Yi Wudao was different. Yi Wudao had a saint body and the full support of his family. His cultivation speed was frightening. But now, it seemed that this wasn't the case. Lin Xian didn't fall behind. Instead, he was on par with Yi Wudao. The two of them stood there like two young gods of war. This shocked the Yi family grand elder. Lin Xian was definitely not simple. He probably had more trump cards than they thought. It was Leaf Dao Denier who had requested to meet with Lin Xian. After much discussion, the Leaf clan agreed. The elders of the Yi clan were very pleased to have an ally like Lin Xian on their side, which would be very beneficial for Leaf Dao Denier. After all, although their Yi family was an imperial clan, they were not the only imperial clan. On the buried Emperor Star, there were quite a few emperor clans. Some of them could even threaten Yi Wudao. Therefore, the Yi family also needed allies. Senior, you flatter me. Lin Xian said with a smile. After chatting with the seniors of the Yi clan for a while, they nodded in agreement. Wudao, you stay here. We're going to the Palace of Dao. Given the status of the great elder of the Yi family and the others, it was likely that the Dao sect elders would not be willing to stay with Lin Xian. Thus, in order to avoid unnecessary trouble, the Yi clan's elders and the others went to the Dao Palace. As for Leaf Dao Denier, he remained with Lin Xian. Leaf Dao Denier was the Yi clan's holy body, and he had shown everyone that the Yi clan was on Lin Xian's side. The surrounding people went crazy. The people from the Dragon Palace did not dare to believe it. Their expressions became unsightly. If it was said that they did not care about the Nalan clan or the Duga clan before, the current Yi clan was different. This was an imperial clan. An imperial clan was equivalent to a group of clans on their side. Lin Xian actually had the ability to contend with the Dragon Palace. Damn it. They clenched their teeth so hard that they broke. Lan Ziyu's face was pale. The wine cup in his hand fell to the ground and shattered. How was this possible? She had gone crazy. Every time, she was immensely pleased with herself, thinking that she could trample the other party under her feet and never let him rise again. But every time, her foot would step on air, and the other party would jump high and slap her. Previously, on the battlefield, the other party had shocked everyone with a single feat and displayed great strength. She could only look up to him. Now, with the Dragon Crown Prince as her backer, she thought that she could look down on him. But the other party actually knew an imperial clan. Was she going to have to look up to him again? She did not want to feel this way again. The Dragon Crown Prince's face was even uglier. He had come full of confidence, but in the end, he was ignored. Damn it, he wished he could run away now. His face darkened as he turned and strode towards the Dao Palace. The Wind Dragon's elder, the Blue Clan leader, and the Sky Saber Mansion Master also lowered their heads. They were extremely embarrassed. The people from the True Path sect were in an uproar. This Lin Xian was not simple. Now, it seemed that he was indeed qualified to contend with the Dragon Palace. The people from the Divine Union were in high spirits. They were extremely excited every time. That was an imperial clan. This was great. Who would dare to look down on them? The Toad and the dark red Divine Dragon came out and mocked the people from the Dragon Palace. A few people from the Dragon Palace vomited blood and fainted. Nalanda and Old Master Dugu were also shocked. Young Master Lin was indeed unfathomable. The Fire Dragon's elder was also shocked. Previously, they were indeed unhappy with the actions of the Fire Dragon Princess. After all, this might offend the Dragon Palace and even the Dragon Prince. However, they were relieved now. With the Yi family around, the Divine Union's foundation had also become stronger. Previously, no one was optimistic about Lin Xian and the Divine Union. They thought that the other party was courting death. However, the situation had completely changed now. Everyone was talking about Lin Xian's god. It was as though they had forgotten about the Dragon Palace. In such an atmosphere, half a day passed. The people from the Dragon Palace could not wait to escape. The Dragon Crown Prince closed his eyes and did not say a word. The atmosphere was strange. At this moment, a loud voice rang out from outside. Thunder boomed 9 times and turned into a thunder dragon. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty had arrived. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty had arrived. Countless people exclaimed. This was also an imperial clan. Moreover, it was a dragon. Countless people were shocked. They had not expected to see 2 imperial clans today. In the Dao Palace, the Dragon Prince opened his eyes, which emitted a piercing light. They had waited. Previously, they had been suppressed. He had been waiting. Only the elites from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty would be able to contend with the Yi family. Now, they had finally arrived. He took large strides and walked outside. The Wind Dragon's clan leader took a deep breath and hurried to follow. The clan leader of the Blue Tribe, the Sky Saber Mansion Master and the others moved out once again. Greetings, seniors. The Dragon Crown Prince was unusually excited. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty were powerful and their bloodlines were terrifying. Their appearance caused the surrounding people to turn pale. It was as though their bloodlines were about to freeze. The Dragon Prince had not come out of seclusion yet. The leading man asked coldly. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty only had eyes for the Dragon Prince. Although Long Ao was the Dragon Sea Crown Prince, they still did not take him seriously. Long Ao did not dare to be careless. His expression became respectful. Third Uncle Long, the Dragon Prince is still in seclusion in the Sacred Origin Tower. Seniors, please. The Dragon Crown Prince carefully invited the people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty into the Dao Palace. The people from the Dragon Palace heaved a sigh of relief and gritted their teeth. So what if the Divine Union had the Yi family? The Dragon Palace had the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. The Dragon Prince was from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. Chapter 4889. What was supposed to be a grand event of the Dao sect had now turned into a battle between the Dragon Palace and the Divine Union. It was really surprising. Of course, the crowd did not mind. They were all very excited. It was really rare to see such a battle. All sorts of big shots were emerging. Even the emperor race had come. Who knew how things would develop next? Everyone was looking forward to it. Following which, more people arrived. Many of them were here to congratulate the Dragon Palace. This allowed the Dragon Palace to turn the tables. The people of the Dragon Palace regained their hope. Some people said that the Dragon Palace had a lot of trump cards. The older, the wiser. At this moment, a series of reports came from afar. Taiching Ancient City, Pill Cauldron Sect, sent gifts. Mount Eternal and the Hall of Eternal Life sent gifts. Mount Eternal, Fire God Palace, sent gifts. Ancient Desolation, Gu Family, sent gifts. Mountain Sea Palace, sent gifts. Six Path Sect, sent gifts. A series of voices rang out, causing an uproar. These were all top sects and emperor race like the Gu family. Countless people were shocked. The elders of the Dao sect arrived one after another. For example, the Levitation Saint and the others. When they heard the news, they were also very happy. It seemed like the Dao sect was getting stronger and stronger. The Yi family, Thousand Dragon Court, and Gu family, the three emperor races, came together. This was very rare in the orthodoxy. After all, Yi Wudao was from the Sky sect and Gu Feng was from the Earth sect. It was really rare for them to gather together. Soon, a group of people walked in. Some of them were covered in flames, some were cold, and some had a mysterious spatial aura. Pill Cauldron Sect, Zhu Dao Sect, spread your Dao across the four seas. I wish the Divine Union a bright future. I wish young Master Lin a bright future. Longevity Hall, Zhu Dao Sect, spread your Dao across the four seas. I wish the Divine Union a bright future. I wish young Master Lin a bright future. Fire God Palace, Zhu Dao Sect, spread your Dao across the four seas. I wish the Divine Union a bright future. I wish young Master Lin a bright future. Gu family. Mountain Sea Palace. Six Path Sect. Congratulations. A loud voice rang out. One of the congratulatory gifts was given to the Dao sect and the other to the Divine Union. The surrounding people were stunned. What was going on? These people were not only here to congratulate the Dao sect, but also to support the Divine Union. It was too unbelievable. The people of the Divine Union were stunned. Were they dreaming? Happiness had come too suddenly. The people of Dragon Palace were shocked, and so was the Dragon Crown Prince. These families and sects were not from the Holy Abyss Ancient City. Even the Dragon Palace could not gather them. But now, Lin Xian had done it. Damn it, how did he do it? The Dragon Prince couldn't believe it. After hearing about this, the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty's people's expressions darkened. Was there anyone who dared to compete with the Dragon Palace? That Lin Xian didn't know the difference between life and death. Previously, they were disdainful of him, but now, their faces were filled with shock. From the looks of it, this opponent was not simple. The Dao sect's elders also cried out in alarm and began to discuss. This was not the first time they had heard of the name Lin Xian. They had known about it before, but when they found out that the other party had the immortal burial physique, many of them gave up. But now, it seemed that this was not necessarily the case. The Levitation Saint's lips curled into a smile. Judging from the situation, the Divine Union wasn't any weaker than the Dragon Palace. In fact, they might even be stronger. This way, when the Patriarch arrived, he could use this opportunity to suggest that the Patriarch accept Lin Xian as a disciple and allow Lin Xian to enter the core area. The levitation saint took a deep breath and began to look forward to it. The atmosphere had reached its peak. Lin Xian's limelight was unparalleled. Even the Dragon Palace had been suppressed. The untethered Six Paths and the others who had come to deliver gifts first went to the Dao Palace, then went to pay their respects to Lin Xian before leaving. At this moment, another voice was heard. Mad God had arrived. The moment this voice was heard, countless people went into an uproar. Mad God, this name was like thunder to their ears. Recently, he had risen like a comet in the ancient city. First, he had reached the 1000th place on the St. Plains leaderboard. Then, he had single-handedly wiped out the Nalan family's 5th Elders faction. Then, he had gone to the Sky Ascension sect and fought with the Sky Sect's elder. He had killed the other party and left calmly. Every single one of his achievements was shocking. Now, was he also coming? The people of the Divine Union were extremely excited. In their opinion, this was their biggest backer. However, the dark red Divine Dragon and the others had strange expressions. They were actually looking forward to it. This was because they knew that Lin Xian was Mad God. This time, it was only a nomological law clone that had come. There was going to be a good show to watch. They knew the situation and were extremely excited at this moment. The faces of the people from the Dragon Palace sank. The Dragon Prince also snorted coldly. Mad God. This time, he should be here to support Lin Xian. So what? No matter how powerful the other party was, he was only ranked 1000th on the Saint Origin leaderboard. Their Dragon Prince was ranked 2nd. The difference between the two was too great. Countless people looked forward. They saw a demonic figure walk over. He was wearing a black robe and was surrounded by demonic chi. It was impossible to see his face clearly. The figure came to the square and waved his hand, taking out a gift box. I'm here to congratulate the Path sect. There were 3 stalks of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs in the gift box. The people from the Path sect received it with a smile. Mad God, greetings. Please take a seat. Mad God said, I have a gift for the Dragon Palace. Everyone was stunned. They had thought that Mad God would support Lin Xian. Why did he have a gift for the Dragon Palace? The Dragon Prince was also stunned. Then, he laughed heartily. It seemed like Mad God had been intimidated by the reputation of the Dragon Prince. Now, he wanted to rely on them. Good, they could use this opportunity to deal a heavy blow to the Divine Union. The Dragon Prince waved his hand in anticipation when the gift was presented. The others were also stunned. Even the people from the Divine Union were stunned. The demonic figure waved his hand and more than 10 gift boxes appeared again. On the Dragon Palace's side, Lan Ziyu, Nan Gu, and the other powerhouses walked out and brought the gift boxes to the Path Palace. There were so many things. Was he really planning to rely on them? The Dragon Prince was too happy. The people from the Thousand Dragon Court also opened the gift boxes proudly. Lan Ziyu, Nan Gu, and the others opened the gift boxes and everyone's eyes widened. They wanted to see what kind of rare treasures were in the gift boxes. However, they were stunned in the next moment. Some of them even screamed in pain. No! Lan Ziyu fainted immediately. Nan Gu's pupils shrank. His hands trembled and the gift boxes fell to the ground. A human head rolled out with blood on its face. What was going on? The surrounding people exclaimed. The gift boxes were filled with human heads. The people from the Path Palace were also stunned. The Dragon Prince's pupils shrank. He recognized one of the heads at a glance. Wasn't that the head of the Wind Dragon? Damn it! How could this be? The Wind Dragon spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was frighteningly dark. Had the top genius of the wind dragons been killed? Damn it! The Blue Tribe Patriarch also roared. They had discovered that the head in Lan Ziyu's gift box was Lan Ziyu's father. It was no wonder that Lan Ziyu had fainted. In addition, the Golden Crow tribe and the other powerhouses of the Dragon Palace had all been killed. Chapter 4890. Bai Susu was shocked. Wasn't this the group of people who attacked them? That's great, they've finally fallen. The people of the Divine Union also started cheering excitedly. These people deserved it. The surrounding people also understood what was going on. This wasn't a gift for the Dragon Palace. It was obviously revenge for the Divine Union. Damn it, you're courting death. The Wind Dragon's leader shouted angrily. The Wind Dragon was his grandson. How could he not be angry now that he had fallen? He threw out a palm strike that turned into a shocking sword that slashed down from the sky. Boom! That demonic godlike figure was split into two. Then, it turned into demonic chi and dissipated in all directions. At the same time, a voice was heard saying that the gift had been delivered and that he was leaving. Damn it! It was a Law clone. The Wind Dragon's leader gritted his teeth. Crown Prince, please avenge us. Yes, he had to capture the other party and tear him to pieces. The people of the Blue Tribe were also shouting crazily. Lan Ziyu had already woken up. She ran to the Dragon Crown Prince and said that the Crown Prince had to capture Mad God and not let him off. And the Divine Union. Lin Xian. Send all of them to hell. At this moment, the Dragon Palace was filled with killing intent. The Levitation Saint shouted coldly. How dare you! Lin Xian was a disciple of the True Path sect. All of you belonged to the same sect. How dare you try to kill a fellow disciple? Are you trying to violate the sect's rules? The other elders also frowned. Forget it if you want to capture Mad God. Even if you want to deal with Lin Xian, you should do it quietly. But now, you're saying this in front of so many experts. You're throwing away the face of your ancestor. Sure enough, an elder snorted coldly. You're too arrogant. How dare you? Is this a place where you can come? Leave quickly. Lan Ziyu and the others' blood was boiling and their faces were pale. They also knew that they had said something wrong and lowered their heads. However, they were unwilling to accept this. Long Ao took a deep breath and said, You guys can leave first. We won't let Mad God off. He wasn't stupid. He wouldn't say that he would attack Lin Xian tomorrow. He would only target Mad God. However, deep down, he was filled with killing intent towards the entire Divine Union. He had to annihilate the entire Divine Union. This matter spread out in an instant, and countless people were in an uproar. The entire ancient city was alarmed. After all, countless pairs of eyes were paying attention to something like the Tao meeting. Sacred Abyss Tower. In a large hall, Ocean Abyss Divine General looked at the message in his hand and was shocked. Mad God had appeared again. It was just a Law clone. Divine General Yungu said, Didn't you tell him to come over? The Ocean Abyss Divine General shook his head and smiled. Yes, he did. But with his personality, he probably had no qualms about it. I think he has already forgotten about it. The Divine Generals shook their heads and sighed. The Divine General of the Sea Abyss said that it wasn't like that. Since he had stood up for Lin Xian so many times, their relationship was definitely not ordinary. Even if we can't find Mad God, can't we find Lin Xian? Find Lin Xian and ask him to help us pass on the message. When the time comes, Mad God will appear. The moment he said that, the other Divine Generals nodded. Divine General Yungu also smiled. That's great. Let's go take a look at the Dao sect meeting. Thinking about it, those fellows should be going as well. The divine generals turned into streams of light and left the sacred abyss tower. The Dao sect had come from all directions to congratulate them. Outside, there were war chariots everywhere. It was a spectacular sight. Inside, the atmosphere was strange. The previous scene had really alarmed them. The Dragon Palace's face was gloomy as he gritted his teeth. Some of the Dao sect's elders' eyes flickered with killing intent. One had to know that the majority of the Dao sect's people favored the Dragon Prince. Therefore, these elders also supported the Dragon Palace. Now that the Dragon Palace had been suppressed to such an extent, they were naturally shocked and displeased. Some elders said, "This mad god is too arrogant. He actually dared to kill our geniuses in our Dao sect meeting and act in such a manner. He is simply looking down on us. I suggest that we immediately take action and suppress him." That's right. Many elders nodded in agreement. They were all on the side of the Dragon Prince and the Dragon Palace. The moment these words were spoken, the people outside were shocked. Someone said, "It's over. It seems like the Divine Union is in danger." Others said that Lin Xian was too young. He didn't know how many elders in the Dragon Palace would secretly support him. Now that he had slapped the Dragon Palace in the face, he was going against these elders. Would he have an easy time in the future? The Wind Dragon's leader frowned. That mad god is so mysterious. We don't even know where he is. If he doesn't come out, won't we be unable to take revenge? The Dragon Prince sneered. Mad God doesn't know, but Lin Xian is here. His relationship with Mad God isn't ordinary. The Levitation Saint's expression changed when he heard this. However, the other elder's eyes lit up. The purple-robed elder said, "That's right. Bring Lin Xian here and ask him about his relationship with Mad God. How should he be punished for allowing Mad God to kill his fellow disciples?" No. The Levitation Saint shook his head. Mad God was the one who did it. Why should Lin Xian be implicated? What evidence do you have? Is there a relationship between the two? Besides. So what if there's a relationship? Mad God is an expert of the demon Dao. How could he be controlled by Lin Xian? You're just accusing him. We'll know if he's the one who ordered this. The purple-robed elder snorted coldly. There are guards waiting outside. Elder, what's the matter? The purple-robed elder said, "Bring Lin Xian here. I want to interrogate him." The two Dao guards were clad in battle armor as they strode down the mountain. Soon, they arrived at the main hall and stared at Lin Xian. "Kid, come with us." Chains of laws appeared in their hands and they were about to shroud Lin Xian. The Divine Union's people's expressions changed instantly. The dark red dragon jumped out and said, "What's the meaning of this? You actually dare to attack him?" The toad also said, "Don't blame me for being impolite if you attack a fellow disciple." The others cried out in alarm. Lin Xian had overshadowed the Dragon Prince previously. However, no one expected that the Dao sect would want to suppress him now. Someone sneered. "Did you see that? This is the consequence of provoking the Dragon Palace." The elders behind the Dragon Palace were enraged. The people from the Dragon Palace also sneered. "Let's see how this kid dies." Lan Ziyu had a sinister expression. She wanted to see Lin Xian fall with her own eyes. Lin Xian also frowned. "You want to suppress me?" One of the guards said, "Kid, you'd better know your place and come with us obediently. Perhaps we can save your face. If you dare to resist, we'll suppress you, tie you up with chains, and take you to the Dao Palace. Choose one. The two guards' voices were sharp and merciless. Why were they arresting him? What was the reason? What did Lin Xian do wrong? Bai Susu shouted coldly. She understood that there were already a few elders who were going to take action. She wondered if her father would be able to handle it. It seemed like the situation wasn't good. If he was really suppressed, it would be dangerous. Chapter 4891. Lin Xian, don't resist. This time, the elder personally asked you to go over. You'd better agree obediently. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state. Everyone's eyes were on Lin Xian. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as a piercingly cold light appeared in his eyes. Just as he was about to say something, a loud voice came from afar. The divine general of the Sacred Origin Tower had arrived. The moment these words came out, everyone exclaimed again. The divine general was here too. The status of these divine generals was extremely high. Even the Yi family elder and the Thousand Dragon Court's elder raised their brows. The Sacred Origin Tower was very mysterious, and the identities of these divine generals were also very unusual. The Dao sect's elders also stood up and quickly welcomed them. At this moment, everyone began to move. Even the two guards did not attack again. Instead, they turned their heads to look. Under the gazes of countless people, two figures walked in. It was really the divine general. Many people exclaimed, their eyes turning red. They could only look up to such existences. So it's the divine general, a rare guest. The Dao sect's elder clenched his fist and smiled. How could we not come to the Dao sect's grand event? This time, we're here to congratulate the Dao sect. The moment these words came out, the Dao sect's elders laughed. Did you see that? Their influence was even more terrifying than before. The other remote antiquity families and peerless sects were envious as well. The Yi family's elder and the Thousand Dragon Court's expert also came forward to greet them. In the face of such existences, the two divine generals did not dare to be careless. They did not expect that even the emperor's fellow Taoists would come. The Yi family's elders said that they were here to congratulate the Dao sect and at the same time, to see the top geniuses of the Dao sect. The Dao sect's disciple, Lin Xian, has the 9-yang divine body and is good friends with our Yi family's Wu Dao. Oh, is that so? Divine General High Abyss smiled. What a coincidence. This time, we're also here to look for Lin Xian. The moment these words came out, the surrounding people were stunned. The divine general was also here to look for Lin Xian. They found it unbelievable. Could it be that these two divine generals were also on Lin Xian's side? When they thought of this possibility, they almost fainted. Why? Why was Lin Xian so capable? He had invited so many experts from so many families, and even the emperor clans and divine generals had to stand on his side. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty's people were stunned. The Dragon Prince and the Dragon Palace's people were even more dumbfounded. Even Lin Xian was surprised. Why was the divine general looking for him? Could it be that his identity had been exposed by the other party? While thinking about it, two immortal generals walked towards Lin Xian. Seeing that Lin Xian was still sitting there, the surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. This guy wouldn't be so arrogant even in front of a divine general, right? However, it was still all right. Finally, Lin Xian stood up under everyone's gaze. He smiled and said, "Greetings, senior divine generals." Then, he looked at Divine General Hai Yuan and said, "Thank you, senior, for your help." "It's you." The Ocean Abyss Divine General was also stunned. Then, he smiled and said, "So you are this Lin Xian." Lin Wudi. That's right, the two knew each other. When Lin Xian went to the Sacred Abyss Tower for the first time, he was stopped outside because he didn't have saint crystals. Back then, he met a divine general who gave him 10 divine crystals. It was Divine General Haiyuan in front of him. The Ocean Abyss Divine General didn't expect that the other party was such a famous genius when he casually took care of him back then. Wait, he was stunned. He remembered that it was this little guy who went in at the same time as Mad God. It was also the first time he appeared on the Sacred Abyss list. He didn't care before, but now he realized that Lin Xian and Mad God had entered the Sacred Abyss Tower on the same day and were so close. He frowned slightly as a bold idea came to his mind. Could it be that the young man in front of him was Mad God? As soon as this idea came to his mind, even he was shocked. Then, he shook his head. That was impossible. If it was really as he guessed, then it was really a big deal. Beside him, Divine General Yun Gu saw that his companion was stunned and asked quietly, "Old friend, what's wrong?" Divine General Haiyuan came back to his senses and said, "Nothing." Young Master Lin was indeed as the rumors said. He was extraordinary. Lin Xian didn't know if the other party had discovered his secret. He could only smile and say, "Senior, you're too polite." He didn't know why these people were looking for him, but he guessed that it must have something to do with Mad God. Therefore, he didn't say anything. "Young man, very good. I have high hopes for you. If you have any difficulties in the future, feel free to tell me. I'll help you." "Thank you, Senior." Lin Xian smiled. The faces of those from the Dragon Palace changed. Even the Dao sect elders frowned. At the side, Bai Susu said, "Senior Divine General, there's really something. Someone wants to suppress Lin Xian." Not good. The eyelids of the Dao sect elders twitched. Divine General Haiyuan frowned. What was going on? Who was so bold? Who dared to suppress a genius in the Dao sect? The toad jumped out and said. It was really strange to say that it was one of them. This was an order given by an elder of the Dao sect. This was an order to kill a genius. Hearing the toad's words, the faces of the surrounding people changed. Dang, this toad really dared to say that. Divine General Haiyuan frowned and asked, "Is there such a thing?" The levitation saint smiled. "I think it's a misunderstanding. Am I right, purple-robed elder?" He looked at the other party. The purple-robed elder's face darkened. How could he refute? Was he supposed to say that it wasn't a misunderstanding? Everyone would probably think that he was suppressing the younger generation. Therefore, he could only smile and say, "Misunderstanding, this is a misunderstanding. Both of you, back off quickly." The two guards felt their scalps go numb and they quickly fled. It seemed that no one dared to touch Lin Xian openly. Damn it, the Dragon Prince and the others gritted their teeth. Killing intent appeared in the eyes of those from the Thousand Dragon Court. This person seemed very dangerous and they had to think of a way to get rid of him. They definitely couldn't allow a potential threat to grow. Just like Long Guang from before. Although he wasn't the Emperor's son, he had threatened the Dragon Prince. Wasn't he still killed by them? They were also capable of sending Lin Xian to hell without anyone noticing. Today, Lin Xian and the divine union that he was in could be said to be in the limelight, causing a storm in all directions. Even the Dao elders didn't dare to act rashly. In an instant, everyone was talking about how the divine union would become even more famous from today onwards and more experts would join. At this moment, the Dao sect's patriarch finally arrived. Everyone looked over. The Dao sect disciples all stood up and bowed respectfully. "Greetings, Patriarch." The Dao sect's patriarch was at the peak of the great sage. His aura was unparalleled. His appearance was like the appearance of a god, suppressing everything. Lin Xian felt a chill down his spine even though he was so far away. This was the peak existence of the great sage. His aura was like the roar of 10,000 dragons. Chapter 4892. Greetings, Lord of the Fantasy World. These were the experts of the remote antiquity families and great sections. The patriarchs also bowed. The fantasy world ancestor had changed the world. She smiled and said, "Everyone, there's no need to be so courteous. Thank you for participating in the ceremony. 10 years have been like a day. Which geniuses have appeared in the Path sect? Let's wait and see." The fantasy world ancestor sat down and the elders of the Path sect walked out to preside over the ceremony. The purpose of this grand ceremony was to test which young genius disciples in the past 10 years were able to stand out and catch the eye of the patriarch. It was divided into 3 major battlefields: the Star ranking, Jade ranking, and Xian ranking. Countless people were looking forward to it. Those who could make it onto the Jade ranking were the top existences of the same cultivation level. Those who were not on the Jade ranking had an additional opportunity to challenge them. In short, as long as one had the strength to stand out, this was a very rare opportunity. On Lin Xian's side, many Divine Union disciples took action. Even Fu Hongye, the dark red divine dragon, Bai Susu, and the others took action. It was even more so on the Dragon Palace's side. In an instant, various battles broke out one after another. It was very exciting and breathtaking. The experts of the remote antiquity families and great sects were shocked. The Path sect was indeed worthy of having so many experts. The Toad and the dark red divine dragon were stronger than before. Bai Susu was the same. It seemed like she had been nurtured by her father during this period. On the Divine Union side, their overall strength had increased tremendously, which shocked countless people. In the past, besides the Dragon Palace, there were other powerful forces that were also very scary. However, they seemed to have been surpassed by the Divine Union now. Everyone exclaimed. The Dragon Palace was not weak either. Although they had been suppressed by Lin Xian previously, they still had a strong foundation. At this moment, the experts of the Dragon Palace were mobilized. There were many experts on the Star ranking and Xian ranking. There was even an incredible expert, Lan Ziyu. Lan Ziyu had become the Dragon Prince's cultivation partner, so he had more than 10 times more resources than before. Her strength had also improved by leaps and bounds, and she was now in the top 10 of the Jade ranking. The Blue Tribe's patriarch looked at this scene and was very satisfied. Lan Ziyu seemed to have regained his confidence after defeating experts consecutively. Lin Xian looked at him indifferently and then lowered his head to drink his tea. That's right, that's all. This event lasted for many days. During this period, many powerhouses stood out. Of course, the ones that attracted the most attention were 3 people. The first was naturally the Dragon Prince. His strength and talent could be said to be very strong. He was definitely one of the best below the Dragon Prince. Therefore, when he made his move, it shocked everyone. Even the elders nodded their heads continuously. Other than that, they were ranked 2nd and 3rd on the Xian ranking. The first on the Profound ranking, the Dragon Prince, had not appeared. The 2nd and 3rd on the Profound ranking were only slightly weaker than the Dragon Prince. Their strength was naturally shocking. These 2 people were Li Rulan, who was ranked 2nd on the Profound ranking, and Jia Wuqing, who was ranked 3rd on the Profound ranking. If one were to ask who was most likely to be accepted as the ancestor's disciple, it would most likely be one of these 3 people. When all the matches were over, everyone was looking forward to it. Especially Li Rulan, Jia Wuqing, and Long Ao, the 3 of them were all nervous. They didn't know who would be targeted by the patriarch this time. The elders also seemed to be asking for Fantasy World Ancestors' opinion. The patriarch's eyes flickered as he looked at the three of them. Stars flickered in his eyes. The three of them were extremely nervous, as if all their secrets had been seen through in an instant. What do you all think? Fantasy World Ancestor did not immediately answer. Instead, he looked at the people around him. An elder said, I think Li Rulan is a very good person. There were also people who said that Jia Wuqing's merciless Tao was very terrifying and that his future was limitless. At this moment, purple-robed Elder Zhang said, let me see, although the two of them are powerful, their future is not as good as Long Ao's. Although Long Hao was not an emperor, he was the top genius of the dragons. He also had the ancient desolate body. What a rare physique. Look at the Yi family's Yi Wudao. One could imagine how terrifying Long Ao's future talent would be. I guess the number one in the entire Dao is the Dragon Prince, and the number two is definitely Long Ao. Therefore, why don't you take Long Ao as your disciple and nurture him carefully? In the future, he will definitely be famous in the 9 heavens. In fact, there might even be another genius who will be crowned as a king. What Purple Robe said was true. There were a few elders around him who kept nodding. It was obvious that they all supported Long Ao. Hearing this, Long Ao's face was filled with pride, but Li Rulan and Jia Wuqing's expressions changed. Fantasy World Ancestor's eyes flickered as he looked at Long Ao. At this moment, the Ascension Saint stood up. Senior Brother Purple-Robed, your words are wrong. Long Ao is strong, but I don't agree with you saying that he is the number 2 genius of the Tao. I recommend someone to the ancestor. This person's strength and talent are unparalleled. Oh. Who is it? The ancestor was interested. Purple-robed and the others' expressions changed. Was the Ascension Saint going to recommend that brat? The disciple I want to recommend is called Lin Xian. He has not been in the Dao sect for long, but the strength and talent he has displayed are unparalleled. Is that so? Fantasy World Old Ancestor was astonished. Ancestor, please wait a moment. The Ascension Saint turned around and walked out of the hall. He said loudly, Lin Xian, the ancestor wants to see you. When these words were spoken, countless people were in an uproar. No way, could it be that Lin Xian also had the chance to become the ancestor's disciple? Some people's eyes turned red. On the Dragon Palace's side, Nan Gu, Lan Ziyu, and the others gritted their teeth. Why? Why could he do it? The 3 people in the square, Li Rulan and Wu Qing, were also shocked. The Dragon Crown Prince's face was gloomy, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. That's great. Lin Xian, my father recommended you. You have to perform well. In the hall, Bai Susu was very excited. The others also took a deep breath. Lin Xian nodded and walked out, heading forward. Junior Lin Xian greets the ancestor and all the elders. Long Ao snorted coldly. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the hall in front of him. An elder sat there like a god of the sky. In the next moment, he was met with a gaze. What kind of gaze was that? It was ancient and filled with the vicissitudes of life. Lin Xian felt as if he was struck by lightning. He felt that all his secrets had been seen through by the other party. What a terrifying gaze. Lin Xian was shocked and quickly retracted his thoughts. At the same time, a golden light gathered in his eyes and he activated the power in his body. He was shocked. It was too terrifying. The other party was actually an illusion expert. And he should be a top expert. After all, the other party was at the peak of the great sage. You are Lin Xian. Fantasy World Ancestor's voice floated out. It was as if a god was asking. Chapter 4893. That's right, I am. Lin Xian nodded. That's right. Fantasy World Old Ancestor smiled. Hearing this, everyone exclaimed. The expressions of the people from Dragon Palace changed. Could it be that the old ancestor favored him? Old ancestor, this Lin Xian seems to be a good person at the moment, but his future is really worrying. It can be said that he has no future at all. What do you mean? Fantasy World Old Ancestor was shocked. The purple-clothed elder said. The old ancestor didn't know that this person was indeed very strong, but he was from the immortal tomb. In history, there were two people from the immortal tomb who were extremely talented, but in the end, they fell and couldn't become the great sage. They couldn't even become a sage king. It was heaven-defying for him to reach this step, but it was impossible for him to take another step forward. He was actually from the immortal tomb. Countless people were shocked. This was the first time some people heard this news. The people from Dragon Palace sneered. How could a person without a future compare to the Dragon Prince? The Feather Saint Lord also frowned. This was indeed Lin Xian's weakness. He couldn't refute it at all. Although he had thought of countless countermeasures, the people from the immortal tomb seemed to have no solution. Was what he said true? Fantasy World Old Ancestor looked at the Feather Saint Lord. The Feather Saint Lord had no choice but to nod. Fantasy World Old Ancestor looked at Lin Xian and shook his head. What a pity. It's over, this kid has no hope. Countless people sighed. The Dragon Prince sneered and said in a low voice, Kid, you're still far from being able to fight with me. At this moment, Fantasy World Old Ancestor looked at Long Ao and said, From now on, follow me to cultivate. Thank you, Old Ancestor. Long Ao bowed respectfully. He was really too excited. He could finally enter the core area. Currently, his cultivation speed was several times faster than others. Even the top geniuses were 2 to 3 times faster. This was because he had the support of resources from many worlds. If he could become a core disciple, then his cultivation speed would increase. At that time, the others wouldn't be his match. On the side, Li Rulan and Wu Qing sighed. It seemed like they had no hope. At this moment, an elder spoke. Although the two of them couldn't become the old ancestors' disciples, they could be accepted as disciples. They would also have a chance to enter the core area. This made the two of them happy. The Levitation Saint also wanted to make use of this opportunity to take in Lin Xian as a disciple. This way, Lin Xian would at least be able to enter the core region. The Dragon Crown Prince, who was lacking in resources, wouldn't lose out too much. However, the purple-clothed elder said, Immortal Ascension Elder, I advise you not to waste this spot. He is someone from the immortal tomb and definitely won't be allowed to enter the core area. That's right, he has no future and is not worthy of our nurturing. You're wasting the resources of the Tao by recruiting him as your disciple. The Feather Saint let out a heavy sigh. Lin Xian remained expressionless. So what if he didn't become a core disciple? He had relied on his own efforts to get to where he was now. In his opinion, there was no difference whether he entered or not. If the other party could obtain a huge amount of resources, so could he. As long as he collected more world cores and entered the sword world to cultivate, his speed would not be inferior to anyone's. Fantasy World Ancestor looked at Lin Xian. When he saw Lin Xian, he was expressionless and shocked. To be honest, this young man had surprised him. When he first looked at him, he realized that he was different from the others. When the Dragon Prince and the others met his gaze, they were unable to resist at all. She had instantly seen through the Dragon Prince and the other two. However, this Lin Xian was different. The other party had a mysterious aura that was resisting him. Although the other party's strength was temporarily unable to contend against him, there was still a trace of mystery to him. He asked, "Are you not convinced?" Lin Xian said, he did not dare, he only felt that these elders were too conservative. Conservative. Hearing this, the purple-clothed elder became angry. "Brat, are you doubting us?" His eyes carried a trace of cold light. Lin Xian said, "If you think it's a question, then it's a question. What qualifications do you have to question me? Young man, aren't you a bit too weak?" The purple-clothed elder snorted. Lin Xian raised his head, his eyes filled with determination. "You keep saying that I am from the immortal tomb and have no future. What is your basis?" The purple-clothed elder sneered. "What a joke. Didn't I say it? There were two in history, but neither of them became the great sage, so it's impossible for you." Lin Xian snorted coldly. "I think you're the laughable one. What did you say?" The purple-clothed elder was furious. Fantasy World Ancestor waved his hand to stop him. He looked at Lin Xian again. Lin Xian said, "Because two people didn't do it, you doubt that I can't do it either." A martial artist's cultivation was originally going against the heavens. Don't you even have the spirit to explore and challenge? So what if it's unprecedented? What others can't do doesn't mean that I can't do it. The light in Lin Xian's eyes became colder and colder. "If we have to follow your thoughts. How did the first great emperor appear? What was the first time a human cultivated? Who was it? The first time they could use the laws. These people who created the world, no one could pursue them before. Could it be that they were not going to continue moving forward? Without these people opening up the path, what do you have to cultivate now?" Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, one word at a time. The purple-clothed elder's expression turned ugly. How dare he? Lin Xian retracted his gaze and said indifferently, "If you think I'm wrong, you can correct me, but you can use your status as an elder to suppress everything. Isn't that a bit too much of a bully?" As soon as these words were spoken, the surrounding people began to discuss. Indeed, Lin Xian was right. What a sharp-tongued brat. Those who created the martial Tao were all heaven-defying existences. They were all supreme figures. How could you be compared to them? Whether or not I'm worthy of being compared to them is not something you can comment on. A cold light also appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Even if there is no path for me, I will walk a path that belongs to me between heaven and earth. As soon as he finished speaking, thunder rumbled between heaven and earth. It seemed to suppress Lin Xian, but also seemed to respond to Lin Xian. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This young man was incredible. Could it be that he wanted to open up a path for himself? How difficult was that? One had to know that even if they followed the path opened up by countless ancestors, it was already as difficult as ascending to the heavens, let alone opening up a new martial Tao. Divine General Hai Yuan's eyes flashed. He was now more and more certain of Lin Xian's identity. The Yi family people were also shocked. This kid was incredible. If he could break the curse of the immortal tomb people, his future would be limitless. He might even become a great emperor. The Thousand Dragon Court people's expressions became ugly. Even if such a person was cursed, they wouldn't allow him to live. It was too dangerous. If they gave him a chance, he might be able to turn things around. They had to think of a way to get rid of him as soon as possible. What a joke! The Dragon Crown Prince shouted coldly. Kid, you are too naive. Chapter 4894. In everyone's eyes, Lin Xian seemed to have reached a dead end. However, Lin Xian smiled. He turned his head and stared at the Dragon Crown Prince. Are you doubting me? do you dare to fight me? Long Ao laughed when he heard that. You want to challenge me? Fine, you killed my incarnation this time. It's time to settle this grudge. I'm not afraid of you. Fortunately, it was your incarnation this time. Otherwise, you would have gone to hell long ago. Lin Xian's eyes emitted an extremely sharp killing intent. Their great Tao laws intertwined and collided. It was as if two divine dragons were fighting between heaven and earth. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. Are these two top geniuses going to fight? It was too shocking. They were all excited because regardless of appearance or Lin Xian, they were both top geniuses. The battle between the two of them would definitely be a fierce battle. Nonsense, all of you retreat. An elder snorted coldly. Now that the two top geniuses were fighting, wouldn't that be throwing them to the finish line? The purple-clothed elder smiled. It didn't matter. This event was originally to select geniuses, and now both of them were called geniuses. Then, who was stronger and who was weaker, would be known later. The other experts nodded in agreement. The experts of the nest of 10,000 dragons also spoke. We also want to see what a top battle is like. What do you think? Fantasy World Ancestor looked at the Levitation Saint Lord. The Levitation Saint Lord took a deep breath and followed the ancestor's decision. He didn't stop him because he felt that Lin Xian should be able to contend against Long Ao. Even if he couldn't win, he wouldn't lose too badly. This way, he could show his strength. Perhaps the ancestor would change his mind. Fantasy World Ancestor retracted his gaze. He understood and looked at the two people in front of him. Since the two of you aren't convinced, then let's fight. However, this battle was a spar and no one was allowed to kill. Yes, Lin Xian and Jia Ruochen cupped their fists. Then, the two of them stood facing each other. Jia Wuqing and Li Rulan retreated. The surrounding people also retreated, giving them enough distance. A fierce battle was about to begin. Long Ao snorted. Brat, you want to fight with me? You really don't know what's good for you. Although I can't kill you now, I will ruthlessly trample you under my feet. I will show you the difference between the two of us. There was a trace of coldness in his eyes. If he defeated Lin Xian at this time, it would mean that Dragon Palace would be completely trampled underfoot. From now on, the other party would never be able to make a comeback. Lin Xian smiled. You're overconfident. You'll be the one in despair. What's more, when I fought against the Dragon Palace, my target was the Dragon Prince from the beginning, not you. Hearing this, Long Ao's face darkened. Was he being ignored? The surrounding people were also in an uproar. Lin Xian's target was actually the Dragon Prince. This was too inconceivable. Long Ao snorted coldly. Brat, stop boasting. Is the Dragon Prince someone you can challenge? Today, I will trample you under my feet. With a cold shout, the power of his body erupted. Terrifying dragon chi surrounded him, and a huge dragon shadow that was tens of thousands of feet tall appeared. Terrifying auras were rarely seen in the 9 heavens. So terrifying. Countless people were terrified. This Long Ao was really too powerful. He was indeed worthy of being evaluated as an existence second only to the Dragon Prince. Just this aura alone was enough to sweep through everything. Li Rulan and Wuqing's pupils also shrank. Although Long Ao didn't compete for the Xian ranking, with his strength, he could probably kill his way into the top 10. This was too inconceivable. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and an extremely terrifying flame light appeared on his body. It was like a sun that descended in the world. The terrifying aura swept in all directions. The surrounding people exclaimed again. Previously, they thought that Lin Xian was too arrogant. But when they felt the aura coming from Lin Xian's body, they changed their minds. They all changed their minds. The other party did have the capital to be arrogant. This aura was definitely not weak. Sure enough, a sun and a true dragon clashed continuously between heaven and earth. Countless cracks appeared between heaven and earth. So terrifying. Those young disciples retreated, and the older generation's pupils shrank. Just this confrontation of aura alone was enough to kill many people. If these two really fought, how earth-shattering would it be? Long Ao snorted coldly. The other party was indeed not weak. Although he didn't want to admit it, this was the truth. Go to hell. He waved his hand. The giant dragon in the sky waved its claws, tearing the void and descending. Its target was Lin Xian. So terrifying. It was an absolute art the moment it appeared. In the face of this terrifying attack, Lin Xian's expression remained calm. He formed a seal with his palm. It was the man-ruler seal. When he struck out, he was like a deity in the vast world. The two terrifying forces collided, and then the light cracked. A terrifying black hole appeared and crazily devoured the surroundings. They were evenly matched. Great! The people of the Divine Union cheered. What dragon prince? He was just a so-so. The toad and the others sneered. Just wait. Soon, your prince will be trampled under his feet. The people of the Dragon Palace gritted their teeth. Damn it, you will lose. Your leader, Lin Xian, will be defeated by our crown prince. Just wait and see. The divine union is finished. Both sides gnashed their teeth, not giving in to each other. The atmosphere was intense. Lin Xian smiled after blocking the other party's dragon hand. Is this your strength? How disappointing. As he spoke, he struck out with his palm. It was the Great Rock Seal. A great rock appeared between heaven and earth, with an aura that could tear everything apart. Long Ao's face was cold. He waved his fist again, and the giant dragon roared. The terrifying dragon fist struck out. At the same time, the giant dragon wings on the back of the giant dragon were constantly rising and falling. It was like a heavenly blade slashing towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian didn't dodge at all. He kept using the Man-Ruler Seal, Rock Seal, Treasure Mountain Seal to contend with the other party. It was as if two worlds were fighting. The sky was falling and the earth was splitting. Then, Lin Xian punched out. Six-Path Fist. This punch was indomitable, able to destroy everything. Not good. Seeing this, Long Ao's pupils shrank. He felt a fatal crisis. The other party was actually able to threaten him. It was unforgivable. Dragon Roar. His roar shook heaven and earth. The terrifying dragon roar swept out in all directions. At this moment, everyone's blood was boiling. Those who were weaker were bleeding from their 7 orifices. Some even had cracks on their bodies. Not good. It was too scary. The levitation saint waved his hands. Countless petals danced between heaven and earth, forming a boundary that covered the front. At the same time, the Yi family and the Thousand Dragon Court also took action. The 3 top experts worked together to seal the entire square to prevent the power from spreading. What was happening at the front? Many people widened their eyes. Even though they were so far away, they were still injured. Would Lin Xian, who was the first to bear the brunt of the impact, be affected as well? Chapter 4895. That kid was definitely dead. Seeing this scene, the people of Dragon Palace laughed. The people of Divine Union were also nervous. This was not an ordinary sound, but a dragon's roar. It contained endless dragon blood. Could Lin Xian block it? They were worried. However, they soon laughed because Lin Xian broke the heaven and earth with a single punch. Then, he walked out aggressively. He stomped his foot and used the celestial walk to kill like a god. Do you think I'm afraid of you in close combat? Long Ao snorted. So what if the other party had the 9-yang divine body? He also had the ancient desolate body. Boom! The two collided in close combat. Every blow was like 100,000 mountains bombarding between heaven and earth. Thousands of cracks appeared. The people below were shocked. Indeed, their physiques were evenly matched. Yi Wudao looked at this scene and narrowed his eyes. The dark red divine dragon also gritted his teeth. Damn it, this guy's physique was indeed extraordinary. Even he could feel a trace of threat from it. Among the dragons, there were very few people who could suppress Long Ao in terms of bloodline, except for the Dragon Prince. Useless kid, I'll split your 9-yang divine body today. Long Ao roared to the sky and soared into the sky. The giant dragon phantom wings on his back drooped down again, like a peerless divine blade slashing down. Lin Xian sneered and stretched out his right arm. His right arm turned into a peerless divine sword. The sword rule swept across heaven and earth. This sword could split the sky. Boom! The collision between the divine blade and the divine sword made everyone's scalp tingle again. However, there seemed to be a change this time. The peerless divine saber formed by the giant dragon illusion was shattered by Lin Xian's attack, and a huge crack appeared. Then, it was cut in half. Long Ao retreated. His arms split open and dragon blood dripped from the sky. Long Ao was injured. Countless people exclaimed. This was impossible. The people of Dragon Palace were shocked. Even the people of Thousand Dragon Court were shocked. This kid's physique was actually so strong. Even the ancient desolate body was no match for the other party. Long Ao's expression changed drastically. He felt that his entire arm could not exert any strength. The strength of the other party's physique was really beyond his expectations. Damn it! Dragon Energy Slash. He spat out a terrifying dragon chi, which turned into a peerless radiance and slashed out. This was no ordinary dragon-containing chi. She had been cultivating it with dragon blood in her body. It was extremely terrifying. It was a peerless killing move. The power of this attack was not inferior to that of the great sage's weapon. Boom! Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He didn't expect the other party to have such an ultimate move. He used the skywalk step and quickly dodged. However, this attack still managed to envelop him. With a kacha sound, he coughed out blood and flew outwards, golden holy blood flowing out from his body. His body was shattered, and a large crack appeared. Even his internal organs could be seen. Oh no, Lin Xian was also injured. Countless people cried out in alarm once again. The people of the Divine Union were nervous, but the people of the Dragon Palace were clenching their fists. Great, Crown Prince, kill him. Long Ao sneered. He was injured in one arm, but the other party was even more seriously injured. His body was almost split in half. At the thought of this, he sneered. With a sway of his body, he charged forward quickly. Now that Lin Xian was injured, he wanted to kill the other party directly. At the very least, he wanted the other party to be seriously injured for a few hundred years. Seeing this, everyone's scalp went numb. The people of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty laughed. The outcome seemed to have been decided. Indeed, a dragon was a dragon, and a worm was a worm. It was impossible to surpass them. The purple-robed elder also sneered. In the eyes of these elders, there was no surprise in this battle. The levitation saint was also surprised. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be defeated so quickly. Could there really be a gap between them? On the other side, the Yi family's divine general and the other family leaders all frowned. It seemed like the crown prince was superior. Was this really all his strength? Divine General Hai Yuan's eyes flickered. He didn't think so. He thought highly of Lin Xian. Kid, what are you going to use to fight me? Long Ao had already arrived before Lin Xian, his eyes filled with killing intent. My bloodline, my identity, and my background aren't something you can deal with. I can crush you to death with one hand. You're lucky to have so many people protecting you. Otherwise, you'd be dead by now. Even so, I'll severely injure you and cripple you. His eyes were filled with extremely cold killing intent. At the same time, his face was also pale. He didn't use the dragon chi slash. He had cultivated 2 slashes of the dragon chi slash in his body. He wouldn't use it unless he had no other choice. This slash was already enough to injure him. His opponent didn't need to waste the last one. He was prepared to crush Long Ao with his own hands. He raised his palm and released a terrifying aura before slamming it down mercilessly. Go to hell. Even the great sage would be torn apart by this attack. It's over. Many of the old family leaders shook their heads and sighed. Everyone thought that this battle was over. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with a sharp light. To be honest, the dragon chi slash did threaten him and hurt him. But so what? The moment he was hurt, he used the immortality art to heal his injuries. In addition, his divine body was also dazzling in the starry sky. This injury was nothing. Seeing Long Ao rush in front of him, Lin Xian sneered. He waved his 2 arms and turned them into 2 peerless divine swords as he charged forward. Slash! Lin Xian was like a peerless war god. His terrifying sword chi was invincible. It pierced through Long Ao's palm in an instant. How was this possible? Why was this sword chi so sharp? Long Ao was stunned. This had completely surpassed the power of the 9 Suns' body. How could he know that other than the 9 Suns' divine body, Lin Xian also had the great dragon sword spirit in his body? When this sword technique was used, it was truly tearing the sky and splitting the earth. He was careless. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. The speed of this sword was beyond his imagination. In an instant, Lin Xian's arms enveloped him. Boom! Boom! His arms were like divine swords as they pierced into Long Ao's body. His internal organs were completely shattered. Then, Lin Xian's arms shook and sword chi exploded. Long Ao's body was torn apart by this attack. Heavens, how was this possible? What did I just see? The surrounding spectators were stunned. The patriarchs and clansmen all stood up. The patriarchs of the Blue Clan and Wind Dragons were scared silly as they sat there in a daze. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Court suddenly stood up and shouted angrily. This was impossible. Dragon slaying. Long Ao was torn into pieces. The huge dragon phantom in the sky was also torn into pieces. Dragon blood roared between heaven and earth, sprinkling down from heaven and earth. This scene was too spectacular. Ha 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 ha, well done. The dark red divine dragon roared, and the toad also cheered. Who said that we were inferior to dragons? He actually did it. Bai Susu and the others were shocked. Elder Hai Yuan's lips curled into a smile. Little guy, you really didn't disappoint me. He felt more and more that Lin Xian was that person. You want to kill me? You can't do it. Lin Xian stood in the sky filled with dragon blood like a demon god. Chapter 4896. Between heaven and earth, dragon blood splattered, piercing through the 9 heavens. Long Ao roared crazily. His soul became sinister and distorted. Damn it, you dare to hurt me, I want you to die, I want you to go to hell, never to rise again. The killing intent on his body continued to erupt. At the same time, dragon blood condensed and restored his body. Kill. Long Ao's body had recovered, but there were some cracks that could not be completely healed. This shocked him, but he couldn't care less. Right now, he had to kill the other party. To relieve the hatred in her heart. Boz. At this moment, Long Ao's body transformed into a 100 feet long sea dragon. His blue scales illuminated the world. With a raise of his hand, he summoned clouds and rain. He was originally the son of the Dragon Sea Lord and had a powerful bloodline. Previously, he had transformed into a human form. At this moment, he was completely enraged and transformed into his original form. Kill, kill, kill. The dragon claws waved and the dragon tail swept across heaven and earth. Long Hai's power erupted. A terrifying aura swept across heaven and earth. At the same time, he unleashed another world-destroying attack. Dragon Chi Slash. It spat out a terrifying attack. Previously, it was this attack that injured Lin Xian and even split open Lin Xian's body. This time, it came out again. Facing the storm-like attacks, Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He didn't dodge at all. He was completely fighting with force. At the same time, he condensed a Taiji diagram to face the Dragon Chi Slash. Hugging with both hands, the Taiji diagram rotated in his hands, using softness to overcome hardness. The Dragon Chi Slash struck the Taiji diagram. However, it was completely enveloped by the rotating power and was unable to tear the Taiji diagram apart. In the end, it dissipated into the Taiji diagram. Even the Dragon Chi Slash couldn't hurt Lin Xian. Countless people were shocked. Taiji Slash. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the Taiji diagram rotated and drew a sharp bolt of lightning, directly slashing forward. Pooh! Long Ao roared. Its tail was split open and fell down. Dragon blood once again dyed the 9 heavens red. Damn it! He was really angry. His huge body transformed into human form again, and then he attacked again. Dragon Rain 9 Heavens. Wrath of the Sea God. Dragon's Kill. Long Ao began to use the dragon's great divine ability. Terrifying rain fell between heaven and earth. This was no ordinary rainwater. Every drop contained the laws of the Tao of the dragon. Tens of millions of droplets were enough to obliterate everything. Even a great sage would be destroyed in body and soul if he were to be enveloped by the dragon rain. The wrath of the sea god caused the surrounding sea to fill with water. His opponent had truly transformed into the dragon sea god. The dragon slay was even more terrifying. His dragon claw carried the aura of a fiend god. It spun rapidly and tore apart the void, aiming for Lin Xian's heart and head. Each of the 3 ultimate techniques was enough to strike fear into the hearts of the great sage. The older generation experts and the patriarch felt their blood run cold. Lin Xian took a deep breath in the face of these 3 terrifying ultimate techniques. Sword come. Behind him, the phantom of a sword dragon appeared and roared towards the sky. The dragon scales on his body rose from the ground and made a clanging sound in the sky. They quickly combined to form a dragon sword. Lin Xian grabbed it. He soared into the air and fought against the 9 heavens. Zhan Long. The sword formed from the dragon scales slashed down from the sky. Everywhere it passed, everything turned to dust. This sword was just too strong. The three dragons' ultimate techniques were all turned to dust under this sword. Before the sword arrived, many cracks appeared on Long Ao's body like a spider. Damn! He wanted to take it head-on, but he was terrified and he couldn't help but retreat. He was actually scared off by Lin Fan. That was just too embarrassing. But facing this sword, he was finally terrified. Saving his life was more important. He retreated quickly, but it was too late. This sword covered him. No. His body split apart once more and he was sliced into two. Moreover, this sword had a cold aura that could destroy everything. Was he going to die? He didn't dare to believe it. What kind of sword technique was that? One of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty experts' pupils constricted and he hollered coldly. A great sage instantly attacked and shattered the sword energy. It turned into dragon scales and disappeared from the world. You actually dare to kill me? This expert from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty stood in the air and stared coldly at Lin Xian. The sword dragon illusion behind Lin Xian disappeared. He laughed. You think too much. There are so many experts here. Even the old ancestor is here. What kind of assassin can kill him? Even if you don't attack, this sword will disappear. Lin Xian was right. It was too difficult to kill the other party here. Furthermore, he didn't intend to do so. Defeating the other party in this battle was already a slap to the other party's face. How could the Dragon Palace compete with the Divine Union in the future? Long Ao, you keep saying that you will trample me under your feet. Have you done it? Reality has proven that you are just a clown. In the future, you won't have any right to be arrogant in front of me. Disappear from my sight. Otherwise, you will end up in a miserable state. Lin Xian's eyes glowed with a terrifying light as he spoke. Long Ao's blood was boiling and his soul was shaking. Not good. The expert from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty shouted angrily. How dare you destroy his Dao heart? A cold, murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Lin Xian sneered. Is he worse than me? If he can't even accept defeat, what right does he have to take another step forward? You! Young man, don't be too arrogant. The expert from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty looked gloomy. The purple dress elder and the others were also gnashing their teeth. The others were in an uproar. The outcome of this battle was really unexpected. No one had expected that the powerful Dragon Prince would be defeated by Lin Xian. Moreover, he had been defeated so miserably. How could this be? The people from the Dragon Palace were crying. Their godlike figure had been defeated. Moreover, he had been defeated by his opponent. Lan Ziyu also knelt on the ground, her body trembling. She didn't even have the strength to stand up now. Her biggest support had been the Dragon Prince. However, reality had proven that even the Dragon Prince couldn't defeat Lin Xian. How could she take revenge in the future? The morale of the people from the Divine Union soared. This was great. Boss Lin was mighty. Young Master Lin was the best in the world. He was indeed the legendary Lin Wudi. Voices rang out one after another. The people from the Yi family were shocked. The eyes of the Yi family elders were also shining. Besides having the 9-yang divine body, Lin Xian also had the great dragon sword soul. In the future, this young man would definitely compete with the emperor's son. They were very confident in their Yi Wudao. Yi Wudao had a sacred body and cultivated the emperor's scripture. He would definitely be able to compete with the disciples in the future. In their opinion, Lin Xian might be a little lacking. However, they had changed their minds. Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul, which seemed to be able to make up for the lack of the emperor's scripture. This guy is so powerful. Didn't you say that he participated in the Holy Gulf list? Why haven't I seen his name before? Big Brother Yun was shocked. Divine General Hai Yuan's eyes shone sharply. This could only mean one thing. He didn't use his real name. He used his title. It seemed like it was him, Divine General Hai Yuan thought to himself. Chapter 4897. The outcome of this battle shocked everyone. At the same time, many people were discussing it. Would the fantasy world patriarch change his mind? Previously, the patriarch had chosen Long Ao as his disciple. Now that Long Ao had been defeated, would the patriarch still accept him as a disciple according to the previous agreement? In an instant, everyone looked in that direction. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Court also frowned. The purple-clothed elder and the others were even more nervous. They were talking about the patriarch. The fantasy world patriarch's eyes flickered, and an extremely terrifying aura erupted from his eyes. He looked at Lin Xian and Long Ao below and thought for a moment before speaking coldly. He first looked at Lin Xian and said, "Young man, you're not bad. You have to walk your own path in the future." Then, he looked at Long Ao. Failure was not scary. What was scary was having one's heart broken. After the banquet, follow me to the core area to cultivate. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect the fantasy world patriarch to not change his mind. Could it be that the person in the immortal graveyard was really a curse that couldn't be broken? Long Ao was also shocked. He originally thought that he had no hope. However, now it seemed that there was still hope. He hurriedly said respectfully, "Yes, Patriarch. I definitely won't lose again." He turned to look at Lin Xian. "Losing to you this time was an accident. Just you wait. The next time I meet you, I will personally take revenge." With that, he walked forward. What else did the levitation saint want to say? However, the patriarch waved his hand to stop him. He could only sigh and hope that Lin Xian could accept this result. Lin Wan also turned and left. On the way back, he received countless questioning gazes. However, his expression remained calm. So what if he didn't enter the core area? To be honest, he really didn't want to enter because the fantasy world patriarch's gaze was too terrifying. If he stayed by the fantasy world patriarch's side, his secret might be discovered. That would be troublesome. After returning, the people from the Divine Union were also nervous. They were afraid that Lin Xian wouldn't be able to hold on. Lin Xian smiled and said, "Don't look at me like that. I'm fine." Bai Susu said, "Kid, I know you're unhappy, but we'll understand." Lin Xian shook his head and smiled. He looked around and said, "Most of you are geniuses from large clans and have enjoyed all kinds of golden spoils since birth. You will be respected and receive all kinds of resources. You will even be able to reach out and those natural treasures will come to you. But I'm different from you. I rose to power in the dusty lands, and everything along the way was exchanged with my life. Throughout my journey, I have never cowered. Along the way, I have been looked down upon by countless people. But I've won again and again. I've walked from the dust to the present. I believe that I can go on. So what if the person in the immortal burial ground was a curse? I don't want to walk the path of immortals. I want to walk my own path." Lin Xian's voice was firm and resolute. The people from the Divine Union were shocked. They hadn't expected Lin Xian to have such an experience. Just thinking about it was terrifying. Their families all had some worlds as subsidiary resources. The people in those worlds were like ants in their eyes. It was basically impossible for him to grow to the same height as them. Not to mention standing in front of them and leading them. However, Lin Xian had come from such a place. How many hardships and setbacks had he experienced? Just thinking about it made their scalps go numb. At the same time, they also heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian had experienced too much, so this blow wouldn't be a problem at all. Big brother Lin, we believe in you. Yes, the young master will lead us all the way. The people from the Divine Union clenched their fists. Lin Xian also smiled. Good. You believe in me, and I believe in you. I will lead you all to the top of the world. Lin Xian turned around and faced the 9 heavens. I won't lose. Then, he turned to the people beside him and smiled. I hope that the disciples of the Divine Union will never admit defeat. His voice became louder and louder, piercing through the 9 heavens and spreading across the land. At that moment, the souls of the surrounding sages trembled as they turned to look at him. What kind of bold and visionary words were these? Yi Wudao smiled. It seemed like his old friend wasn't affected at all. The 2 battle gods also nodded in satisfaction. The levitation saint also heaved a sigh of relief. On the side of the dragon palace, they frowned. The people from the 1000 Dragon dynasty had killing intent in their eyes. This guy didn't shrink back after such a blow. Instead, he became even stronger. This person had to be eliminated quickly. Advance courageously and never admit defeat. The old ancestor whispered as his eyes flickered. Long Ao, who was beside him, was nervous. He said, Old ancestor, please believe in me. I won't lose again next time. I will defeat him. The fantasy world ancestor waved his sleeves and left with Long Ao. The banquet also ended. Long Ao arrived at the core area and felt the terrifying power inside. He took a deep breath. The fantasy world ancestor brought him to a pagoda and said, This place is filled with resources. There are endless resources and power here. You can cultivate here. Thank you, old ancestor. Don't worry, I won't let you down. Long Ao was excited while the fantasy world ancestor stood with his hands behind his back. Let's hope so. Your talent is unparalleled, but you are too arrogant and need to be tempered. Previously, when the Dragon Prince came to find me, he mentioned you and told me to accept you as my disciple. Now that I've observed you, you are indeed not bad. Cultivate well and don't let me and the Dragon Prince down. So it was the Dragon Prince's suggestion. Long Ao clenched his fists. If it wasn't for the Dragon Prince, the disciple this time would have been Lin Xian. He took a deep breath. Although he had also become the Crown Prince, he and the Dragon Prince were not even comparable to each other. This gap had once made him despair. However, later on, he swore that one day, he would catch up with the Dragon Prince and make this gap smaller and smaller. As for that Lin Xian, just you wait. With the resources of the core area, my cultivation speed will be faster than before. When the time comes, you will die without a doubt. He would definitely get his revenge for what had happened today. On the other side, the guests also left one after another. The news of this banquet would spread all over the world. The people of the 1000 Dragon Court had cold expressions. Although there were twists and turns, the final result was satisfactory. Long Ao had become the old ancestor's disciple. It seemed like they had to go back and discuss how to get rid of Lin Xian. At the thought of this, they also left. The people of the Divine Union also returned to their spiritual abodes to cultivate. The result of this battle was that more and more people wanted to join the Divine Union. The strength that Lin Xian had displayed was too strong. He had already surpassed the Dragon Prince. Lin Xian's last sentence of never giving up and moving forward courageously gave them endless hope. These people were eager to join. For a moment, Bai Susu and the others were all smiling. Chapter 4898. Divine General Haiyuan stared at Lin Xian non-stop, which shocked Lin Xian. Could it be that this divine general had discovered his secret? He asked, "Seniors, why are you looking for me?" Divine General Yungu said, "We're actually here to look for Mad God. However, we can't see him. Your relationship with Mad God shouldn't be ordinary, right? Tell Mad God to hurry to the Sacred Abyss Tower. We need his help with something." "Oh, what is it?" Lin Xian was surprised. Divine General Yungu said, "You won't know even if I tell you. Kid, you'll know when you reach Mad God's level." Divine General Haiyuan also patted Lin Xian's shoulder. "I have high hopes for you. Maybe you'll know soon." He revealed a meaningful smile. Lin Xian felt more and more that they must have discovered his identity, but they didn't say anything. It was obvious that they were on his side to help him. Therefore, he nodded. "I understand what you two seniors mean. I'll send a message now. He should be there in a few days." The two divine generals left Lin Xian and returned to the divine abode to organize some things. This time, more than 200 people joined. Lin Xian saw these people and encouraged them to cultivate well. He left the rest to Bai Susu, Hongyi, and the dark red divine dragon. He consolidated his cultivation and adjusted his state to its peak. Then, he went to the Sacred Abyss Tower and covered his body with demonic qi. Lin Xian once again turned into the demonic Mad God and arrived at the Sacred Abyss Tower. He appeared again. Countless people exclaimed, "Look, it's Mad God. He's here again." They heard that he killed many Dragon Palace experts at the Dao Sect's Sacred Assembly. He even provoked them. Dragon Palace was so angry that they vomited blood. They didn't expect him to appear so soon. He's not afraid of being hunted down by Dragon Palace experts. Dragon Palace is no match for him. Someone laughed. Someone shook their head. Don't forget that Dragon Palace is backed by the Thousand Dragon Court. They'll definitely send experts to hunt him down. While everyone was discussing amongst themselves, Lin Xian had already entered the Sacred Abyss Tower. He came to a large hall in the Sacred Gulf Tower, where several figures were waiting. Lin Xian had seen two of them before. They were Divine General Haiyuan and Divine General Brother Yun. The others were also thinking about the immortal generals. When they saw the demon-like figure behind them, they all raised the corners of their mouths into smiles. "You're finally here." Lin Xian cupped his fists and looked around. Then, he walked over. He looked a little arrogant, but he didn't care. Mad God had to be arrogant. Otherwise, he wouldn't live up to his name. The other immortal generals had also heard of his deeds, so they didn't care about his attitude. It was fine as long as the other party was strong. "Big Brother Yun, the divine general is gone. Come here." "Speaking of Mad God, you're here." Divine General Ocean Abyss smiled as well. Lin Xian said, "I received news that you are all looking for me. I don't know why. It's a good thing." Divine General Haiyuan said that we're going to a very mysterious place, so we need your help. Lin Xian was shocked. "What place? If even the immortal generals can't do it, I'm afraid I can't do anything." Indeed, although Lin Xian was strong, these immortal generals were even scarier. Divine General Brother Yun said that it's not like that. "This time, we're exploring ancient ruins. It's very mysterious. Some places have cultivation restrictions. Therefore, we can't do anything in that place. We can only ask experts like you for help." Lin Xian was able to enter the Saint Origin board, which meant that he was at most in the early stage of the great sage. Therefore, this level of cultivation could be put to good use in certain situations. And these immortal generals' cultivation had long surpassed the early stage of the great sage. Therefore, they couldn't do anything in some places. Lin Xian nodded. He understood. He wondered what kind of secret realm could pique the interest of these divine generals. It's definitely not an ordinary ruin. Divine General Brother Yun smiled. Do you know about the heavenly court? Lin Xian was shocked. Of course, he knew. Could this ruin be related to the heavenly court? That's right. Kid, you guessed right. It's indeed related to the heavenly court. It's a ruin of the heavenly court. And it was only discovered recently. Therefore, the news hasn't spread too far. We have to hurry. Lin Xian was shocked. Was it really a ruin of the heavenly court? I wonder if Black Mountain will appear. In the last heavenly court ruin, Black Mountain had obtained the sky lantern, and Lin Xian had obtained the heaven-swallowing jar. Later, he found out that it was only half of the heaven-swallowing jar. He still lacked a lid. He wondered if he could find that lid this time. If he really found it, it would be a complete heaven-swallowing jar, an extreme Tao. Even if he couldn't find it, it would be great if he could obtain some of the ultimate techniques of the heavenly court. Therefore, Lin Xian was very interested. He said that since this was the case, there was no time to lose. Let's begin. Divine General Brother Yun smiled. There's no hurry. There are still some people. Lin Xian waited. Indeed, it didn't take long for more people to arrive. The first to arrive were two people. One was dressed in green, the other in purple. Both of them were extremely beautiful. They had swords on their backs. According to the introduction, Lin Xian knew that these two beautiful women were called Qing Hong and Zi Hong. These two weren't ordinary people. They were famous. They were known as the Purple and Green Twin Swords. Their names were in the top 1,000 of the Saint Origin leaderboard. Their ranking was much higher than his. After these two, another person came. It was a man with snow-white hair. It danced in the wind, and its eyes were actually white as well, making it look extremely mysterious. Eye technique. Lin Xian was shocked. His eyes flickered with a golden radiance. The purple and green twin swords also had serious expressions. They knew this person. In fact, his ranking was higher than theirs. Of course, they were confident that they could defeat him with their twin swords combination. This person was called Yanling. His ultimate move was execution of words. It was very terrifying. Now that everyone was here, Divine General Hai Yuan smiled. The few of them looked at Lin Xian. Qing Hong said. You must be that mad god. I wonder how strong you are. Do you want to experience it? Lin Xian looked at her and smiled. Qing Hong stepped forward and sword chi exploded. She couldn't ask for more. Sister, please be quiet for a while. Zi Hong walked over and said. Then, she looked at Lin Xian. Mad God, I'm sorry. My sister's temper is like that. No worries. Lin Xian nodded. Beside him, Yanling smiled. Qing Hong turned her head. Her eyes were shining. What are you laughing at? Are you doubting my strength? Yanling shook her head. She had heard of the angry fairy's name. Today, she was indeed worthy of her reputation. Qing Hong was furious. Whoever dares to talk nonsense outside, I'll kill him. Lin Xian also shook his head. This girl was indeed crazy. While Lin Xian was joking, another group of people walked out of the hall. Chapter 4899. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the others turned around. In the next moment, they saw a divine general walking over. Behind him, there were also 3 figures. "Greetings, divine general." Qin Hong and the others cupped their fists and bowed. The 3 figures on the opposite side also bowed. Then, their gazes clashed in the air. Terrifying thunderbolts burst out, tearing the void apart. Divine General Hai Yuan frowned slightly but didn't say anything. Lin Xian was surprised. He stared at the figure in front of him. It was a woman with an extremely beautiful face. She was even more beautiful than Qin Hong and Zi Hong. Not only that, but she also exuded a biting cold aura. She was like an ice goddess that kept people thousands of miles away. Qin Hong and Zi Hong were also sizing her up. Then, they said, "So beautiful." Qin Hong snorted, and Zi Hong's eyes sparkled. The ice mountain fairy in front glanced at them expressionlessly. However, when she saw Lin Xian, her body trembled and her pupils constricted. Something unbelievable seemed to have happened. Lin Xian looked at her and smiled. "How should I address this fairy?" He walked forward. There were 2 other figures beside the ice mountain fairy. One of them was wearing a black robe and had a pair of black wings on his back. He seemed to be standing in the dark and looked very mysterious. The other person beside him had a terrifying aura. It was as if his every move could split the sky and earth. "This guy is really bold." Yan Ling chuckled. However, Qin Hong snorted. He would be in trouble. He knew that the ice mountain fairy in front of him had also just challenged the Holy Gulf list not long ago. More importantly, she was indeed very cold. No matter who it was, she would ignore them and was known as the Ice Mountain. If Mad God went to greet her, he would definitely be rejected and might even be beaten up. The dark shadow expert frowned and sneered. "Kid, get lost. This is not a place for you." The other man with a terrifying aura also snorted and stared at Lin Xian. They had already seen the Ice Mountain Fairy. How could they let others come before they even got their hands on her? Lin Xian glanced at Dark Shadow and sneered. "I'm talking to the Ice Mountain Fairy. It's none of your business. Get lost." "What did you say?" That person was enraged. He took a step forward and spread out the wings on his back. His body emitted a monstrous dragon aura. His name was Shadow, and he was a member of the Shadow Dragon clan. The man with the terrifying aura beside him also turned solemn. His body also emitted the aura of the Tao of Dragon. The 2 sides looked like they were about to fight, but at that moment, footsteps could be heard from afar. A woman wearing divine general armor quickly walked over. Beside it, similarly, 3 figures appeared. "Everyone is here," the divine general Wind Snow said with a smile as he looked around. "You're a little late," Divine General Yungu said. Divine General Qianqing also snorted coldly. "Since everyone was here, let's begin." "Start what?" Everyone was stunned. Divine General Qianqing, who was the second to enter, said, "There are too many people. Let's eliminate one." Qin Hong, Zi Hong, and the others' expressions changed when they heard this. The Shadow Dragon and the other expert with a terrifying aura revealed sinister grins. They all stared at Lin Xian, but soon, they couldn't laugh anymore. Because Lin Xian was already chatting with the Ice Mountain Goddess. The Ice Mountain Goddess even showed a beautiful smile to Lin Xian. How was that possible? Shadow went crazy. Her title of Ice Mountain Goddess was not fake. She didn't care about any top geniuses. Why would she smile at this kid in front of him? In addition, Qin Hong, Yan Ling, and the others were also stunned. Even the 3 new top geniuses were surprised. They all stared at Lin Xian. Is this guy an expert of the demon Dao? Who is he? Wind Snow also smiled. Let's introduce him. As soon as he finished speaking, the three figures beside him stood out. One of them had a surging aura and was full of heroism. He also had a pair of wings on his back. He said loudly. Peng Wanli of the Tianping clan. Next to him was a person with a cold expression. His voice also had a trace of piercing coldness, like a knife. His name was He Jiuxiao. The last person was a little strange. He sat on the back of a goldfish and was dozing off with his chin in his hand. Hearing Divine General Wind Snow's words, he opened his eyes and said, Xiao Xiao, you're right. Xiao Zhuang. After saying that, he closed his eyes and went back to sleep. After these three people were introduced, Qing Hong and the other two also stood out and said their names. Shadow then walked out. Another man with a strong aura also walked out. He was called Zhu Lai. He was an expert of the Torch Dragon clan. The Ice Mountain Goddess looked around and said coldly. Xue Qi. That's right. This woman was Xue Qi. She was the woman Lin Xian met in the Thousand Mountain Cave. Later, with Lin Xian's help, she obtained the Nine Divine Body. Later, after Lin Xian left, Xue Qi also went out to train. There had been no news of her since then. They didn't expect her to come here and enter the Holy Gulf Tower. The others were thinking and sizing each other up. They found that these people were all top experts. Moreover, they had a special characteristic. They were ranked in the top 1,000 of the Saint Origin Board. However, they were not ranked above 800. The highest ranking was the sleeping Xiao Zhuang, who was currently ranked 810. As for the last one, they all stared at Lin Xian. Shadow said coldly. Kid, tell me your name. Lin Xian glanced at him and said coldly. Mad God. So, he was the Mad God. Many people were surprised by this name. It was a name that resounded like thunder in their ears. However, it was their first time seeing him. Zhu Lai snorted. So, you're the Mad God. You're only ranked in the top 1,000. How dare you be so presumptuous in front of me? Although Lin Xian had reached the top 1,000 3 times, these people were all ranked in the top 1,000. Therefore, when they faced Lin Xian, they looked down on him. Lin Xian didn't care. Firstly, he didn't participate in the challenge many times. Secondly, the top 1,000 wasn't his limit. He didn't use the heaven-devouring jar or the great dragon sword spirit. Otherwise, he would have to use his name first. Lin Xian frowned. He found that other than Aning and Zhu Lai, there was another person who was hostile to him. There was even killing intent. Although it was hidden deep, Lin Xian's eye technique was amazing. He found out in an instant. He turned his head and looked, and his frown deepened. He found that the person who wanted to kill him was a divine general. It was Divine General Qian Qin. Mad God, come over first. Divine General Hai Yuan said. Lin Xian smiled at Xue Qi. They would talk later. Then, he turned and left. He had already recognized the other party. Xue Qi also recognized him. Their physiques were too godly. One had the 9 Yang divine physique, and the other had the 9 Yin divine physique. They were the opposite of heaven and earth. Chapter 4900. Lin Xian returned to Immortal General Hai Yuan's side. Immortal General Hai Yuan transmitted his voice to Lin Xian. Be careful. Qian Chen supports the Dragon Prince. You slapped the Dragon Palace's face, so he must be unhappy with you. Lin Xian understood. No wonder the other party wanted to kill him. So they were the Dragon Prince's men. Immortal General Qian Chen said again. There are too many people. Remove one. As soon as he said that, everyone's face changed. Remove who? No one was willing. After all, they were going to the ruins of the Heavenly Court. The Heavenly Court had a long history. Not only in ancient times, it was said that it had appeared in ancient times. And it was said that the Heavenly Court had been destroyed more than once, but it had been rebuilt. The most recent one was the collapse 50,000 years ago. Now that they found the ruins of the Heavenly Court again, what kind of opportunities and treasures would there be? They were full of anticipation. No one was willing to leave. Ning stood out and said. Isn't it simple? Based on the ranking, the last one to leave. After saying that, he stared at Lin Xian with a cold smile. I agree. Immortal General Qian Chen nodded. Because Mad God's ranking was at the bottom, which meant that he had to be eliminated. This way, it would be a small revenge. They would deal with him in the future. However, Immortal General Hai Yuan frowned. Lin Xian snorted. What a joke. Could the ranking prove everything? Why not? Zhu Lai also stood out and said. It was very difficult to increase one's ranking on the Saint Origin board. Would you hide your strength if you had it? Did I hide my strength? You'll know when you try. Lin Xian looked at him and sneered. Peng Wanli and the others were watching and didn't say anything. They naturally knew the grudge between the two sides. Mad God slapped the Dragon Palace's face. That was not giving face to the Dragon Prince. Immortal General Qian Chen, as the Dragon Prince's man, how could he not take revenge? And they were Kunping Zi's men, so they naturally hoped that the two sides would fight. It would be best if both sides suffered. At this moment, Immortal General Wind Snow smiled. Since both sides are not convinced, why don't we have a fight? The loser will be eliminated. What a good idea. Ning also took a step forward. If you're not convinced, come out and fight me. I'll let you know the difference between us. Ning was very confident. His ranking was 950th. The other side had an extra 50 players. However, every increase in rank was extremely difficult. With a difference of 50 ranks, the difference in strength was like heaven and earth. He could easily crush the other party. The others knew this, so they all looked at Lin Xian. Would the other party dare to accept the challenge? Many people guessed that Lin Xian would not accept the challenge. After all, the gap between them was too big. However, Lin Xian only laughed. Do you want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. This fellow is really arrogant. Qin Hong was shocked, and then she snorted coldly. He was too reckless. On the Snow Wind Divine General's side, Peng Wanli and the others all frowned. Could it be that Mad God had another trump card? Zhu Lai sneered coldly, while Xueqi shook her head. He wouldn't lose. Damn it, Shadow was furious. He didn't know what was so good about Mad God. Why did the Ice Mountain goddess Xueqi change into a completely different person when she saw him? He didn't know that the two of them were already Dao companions. If he knew, he would probably be angered to death. Shadow sneered. I'll make you regret this. He took a step forward, and his aura exploded, sweeping through the heavens and earth. The people around all exclaimed in surprise. He was about to reach the Great Sage Realm. Qian Chen also nodded. Very good, he was already one step into the Great Sage Realm. He should be much stronger than before. Peng Wanli and the others were also shocked. They didn't expect Ning to be hiding his cultivation. This Mad God was really unlucky. Crane Zhouxiao sneered. He said that Xiao Zhuang had been dozing off, as if he wasn't interested in the upcoming battle. Ning sneered. Ever since my cultivation improved, I've been hiding it. Today, I'll let you experience the power of a half-step great sage realm. Dragon blood appeared on his body, suppressing the 9 heavens. The surrounding people all felt a suppression from his bloodline. Under the countless gazes, Ning waved his hand, and a black shadow appeared. It turned into a shadow dragon and flew over quickly. Peng Wanli and the others took a deep breath. It seemed that Ning was arrogant, but he wasn't careless at all. Facing Mad God, he used an ultimate technique. If this shadow was restricted, even the great sage would be sealed and wouldn't be able to fight back. Was it the power of the seal? Su Chen's eyes flashed, and then he sneered. His eyes flashed with a cold light. Let's see if your sealing power is stronger, or my suppressing power is more terrifying. Reincarnation tablet. A pair of godlike eyes appeared, and his gaze turned into a tablet that constantly intertwined. With the power of reincarnation, it suppressed forward. Boom! Boom! Lin Xian didn't attack the shadow. Instead, he attacked Ning. At the same time, he didn't dodge and allowed the shadow to envelop him. With a boom, he was forced back 2 steps, and countless seals appeared on his body. Great, I'm excited. Ning sneered. The others were also shocked. Was the gap really that big? The difference of 50 ranks was enough to make Mad God unable to fight back. God General Qian Chen also sneered. Mad God General Qian Chen was just a so-so. But in the next moment, his pupils constricted. Not good, he wanted to warn them, but it was too late. The reincarnation tablet fell, enveloping Ning. Ning was shocked. Damn, what is this? Block it for me. He waved his hand, and it turned into 2 daggers that sliced through everything. But this was a soul-level attack, and he couldn't dodge it at all. In an instant, he was suppressed. He felt his soul shake as if it was about to split open. His entire body knelt on the ground. With a crack, his soul knelt on the ground. What's going on? Is Ning injured too? What kind of eye technique was that? Mad God actually has such a terrifying eye technique. Why didn't I know about it before? One after another, voices rang out. They all knew about the legend of Mad God. He was arrogant. His demonic energy was enough to tear apart the 9 heavens. In their eyes, he was a close combat expert. But now, Mad God used an eye technique. No wonder Ning couldn't dodge it. No one had expected it. Roar! Ning roared, and the aura of the Tao of Dragon appeared. His soul escaped, but his face had turned pale. In that instant, his soul had been injured. Damn it, and Ying's expression was cold. He mobilized the power of laws to repair it. At the same time, he raised his head and stared ahead. I'm going to make you die without a burial ground. A group of shadow daggers appeared in his hand, and he charged forward. In an instant, he was behind Lin Xian. Die! Chapter 4901. Not good. Zi Hong exclaimed. Qing Hong also snorted. Mad God was too careless. Although his soul had injured the other party, his body was also sealed. He could not move at all and could only be slaughtered. It was all over. Ning snorted, and 2 daggers struck Lin Xian's body. A sonorous sound was heard, but the smile on his face disappeared. His shadow dagger was bounced off, and a crack even appeared on one of his daggers. How was that possible? His opponent's physique was too terrifying. At this moment, Lin Xian, who was in front of him, turned around and sneered. Your seal isn't that great either. As he spoke, an extremely terrifying sword chi rushed out of his body and shattered the seal. The other party's seal was indeed very strong and could seal the great sage, but the dragon sword's soul in Lin Xian's body was enough to destroy everything. A mere seal was nothing to be afraid of. How was that possible? How did you do it? Ning was so frightened that he took a step back. However, in the next moment, a black palm grabbed at his head. Damn it! He waved his dagger again to block. The dagger struck the black demonic hand with an earth-shattering sound, and sparks flew. However, the black hand did not stop at all and directly slapped down. Ning teleported. Ning roared angrily and quickly used a peerless movement technique to narrowly dodge the attack. However, his chi and blood were still rolling. Damn it! Next, his entire body merged into the darkness. He spread his wings and his speed was extremely fast. He was erratic. As a member of the Shadow Dragon clan, speed and movement techniques were his forte. With such speed, he launched a destructive attack on Lin Xian. In an instant, thousands of thorns attacked Lin Xian, causing the void around Lin Xian to constantly shatter. He should be injured now. However, a large hand reached out and directly enveloped the entire world, making it impossible for Ning to escape. With a boom, he was sent flying by a punch. Damn it! Endless dragon patterns appeared on Ying's body. He turned into a ferocious dragon. Die! His power increased once again. Lin Xian sneered. Your dragon blood is really trash. Let me show you what real dragon blood is. Lin Xian took a step forward, and countless phantoms appeared behind him. In the end, it condensed into a figure. It was a black dragon with a terrifying demonic aura on its face. He was like a demon god. The dragon tail flung out like a demonic god's sword, piercing through the air. How could this be? You also have the aura of the Tao of Dragons. Are you one of the dragons? Ning went completely mad. He was sent flying and his body was torn into pieces. One of the heads roared. And you don't deserve to know. Lin Xian stepped on the other party's head with one foot. With a light push, countless cracks appeared on the other party's head. Stop! Divine General Qian Qin shouted coldly as his face darkened. Lin Xian sent his opponent flying with a kick, then stood with his hands behind his back. Now you know who the trash is, right? If anyone is going to be eliminated, it should be him. So powerful. Qin Hong was dumbfounded. This was completely different from what she had imagined. On the other side, Peng Wanli and the others took a deep breath. It seemed that Mad God had indeed hidden his strength. Xue Qi's lips curled into a smile. How could her husband be weak? He had the 9-yang divine body. Ning deserved it. Lin Xian looked at Ning and sneered. You've already lost and been eliminated. Hurry up and get lost. You don't have the right to stand here. Damn it. Ning gritted his teeth. He was about to vomit blood, but he had said it himself. He couldn't go back on his words now. He looked at Divine General Qian Qin, hoping that he would let him go. Divine General Qian Qin's face was cold. Useless trash, go back and cultivate in seclusion. This is too embarrassing. He originally wanted to suppress Mad God and even suppress him to take revenge for the Dragon Palace. But now, he had been slapped in the face. Ning didn't dare to say anything and ran away. In an instant, only 2 people were left on Qian Chen's side. Is this enough? Divine General Hai Yuan smiled. Qian Chen was so arrogant. Now, there was one less person. Damn it. Divine General Qian Chen's face was cold. But at this moment, Xueqi stood up and said, "Not yet. What's going on?" The surrounding people were stunned and looked at each other. Is this ice beauty going to fight? Xueqi smiled and said, "I'll leave Divine General Qian Chen's team and join Divine General Hai Yuan's team. Is this okay?" What? Everyone was stunned. Divine General Qian Chen's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. She wanted to leave him and join the other team. Hai Yuan was stunned. Then, he smiled. "Sure, we welcome her." "Very good." Xueqi walked forward and came to Mad God's side with a beautiful smile. Divine General Hai Yuan and Peng Wanli were stunned. It seemed that her joining had something to do with Mad God. They must have known each other for a long time and had an unusual relationship. Peng Wanli was shocked. Who was this Mad God? How could he gain the favor of the Ice Fairy? Divine General Feng Shui narrowed his eyes. Even Xiao Zhuang, who had been dozing off, raised his head. A mysterious light appeared in his eyes, and he looked at Lin Xian and Xueqi with his dreamy eyes. He was shocked, but then, the corners of his mouth curled up. The 9 yin and 9 yang have reappeared in the world. Interesting. It's getting more and more interesting. This time, I can have a good dream. Then, he smiled and closed his eyes. It seemed like he had fallen into a deep sleep. Hai Yuan's team was very strong. Only one person was left on Qian Chen's side. His face was terrifyingly dark. Damn it. I have to find another person. He raised his hand as if he wanted to summon another person. Lin Xian looked at this scene and smiled. Divine General, didn't you say that there would be one more person? Why do you still need to find another? Qian Chen roared. That was before. Now, I'm changing my mind. Don't you agree? Are you challenging me? Lin Xian sneered and didn't reply. However, there was a trace of disdain in his eyes. Soon, a figure walked over from the distance and came to Qian Chen's side. He looked ahead and said coldly. Iceberg, you dare to betray us. Aren't you afraid of going to hell? Xueqi snorted coldly. She raised her hand and took off the ice bracelet on her wrist and threw it over. Then, she said, our agreement is cancelled. I'll return the divine ice bracelet to you. Damn it. Qian Chen gritted his teeth and put away the divine ice bracelet. It was an ice element treasure, a great sage artifact. He had spent this amount of money to invite the other party over. He didn't expect her to go back on her word. Lin Xian said, don't worry, I'll give you a better one in the future. Chapter 4902. The newcomer's body seemed to be made of metal, and it emanated an ice-cold radiance. It also emanated a terrifying and gloomy aura. Lin Xian furrowed his brows. He felt that this person wasn't ordinary. This aura was very similar to his death law. If you want to fight, I'll do it. He walked out. However, Xueqi said, don't worry, I can still deal with it. She walked out, looked ahead, and said coldly, Flying Corpse King, you are no match for me. The person in front of her was a corpse, and he had cultivated himself. Moreover, he had regained his intelligence. He had reached the peak of the Saint King realm, and he was extremely terrifying. He was called the Flying Corpse King. The Flying Corpse King sneered coldly when he heard this. That was in the past. Now, you are no match for me. He took a step forward, and in the next moment, a terrifying aura of death erupted from his body, and it spread out in all directions, engulfing the land. Everyone felt the call of the god of death. Qin Hong's pupils contracted, and she exclaimed in surprise, the great sage has made a breakthrough. Even Divine General Hai Yuan was taken aback. The Flying Corpse King was already very terrifying, and he was ranked higher than the Dark Shadow King, who was ranked 930. Now that he had made a breakthrough and reached the Great Sage, his ranking would probably rise even higher. He wondered if the Ice Mountain Goddess would be able to withstand it. Xueqi walked out and said, "Fine, I'll let you see my true power." She waved her hand, and a terrifying black ice spread out in all directions. The nine-in divine body was displayed. She thrust out her jade-like hand, and it seemed to have turned into a world of ice, which pressed down from the sky. What a terrifying aura! What kind of ice is this? The people in the surroundings were all surprised. Divine General Wind Snow squinted her eyes. She was also an expert of the ice element, but even she was shocked. The ice used by this person should be one of the legendary ice. She didn't expect that this Ice Mountain Goddess's body was so mysterious. The Flying Corpse King also furrowed his brows. Was he hiding his power? No wonder. However, so what? Let's fight. He waved his hand, and his palm stretched out. It didn't carry any aura or temperature. It seemed like the hand of the god of death from hell. However, when it got close to Xueqi, it was covered in ice, and it was frozen in midair. This was truly unbelievable. Peng Wanli sighed in admiration. The Flying Corpse King had an extremely strong aura of death. Anyone who was touched by him would have their life taken away and turned into white bones. But now, the other party couldn't even get close to him. How was he supposed to fight? Yan Ling, however, shook his head. He said that it was not certain. Other than the extremely terrifying aura of death, the Flying Corpse King's physique was also unbelievably strong. I heard that he seemed to have refined his body into a peerless weapon. Just like what the heaven-devouring Great Emperor had done in the past, he had refined himself. The fact that the heaven-devouring Great Monarch had refined himself into the heaven-devouring jar was something that only existed in legends. Everyone knew this, but they didn't expect that there would be someone who would follow suit. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He could feel that his opponent's physique was indeed very strong. It was as if the Grim Reaper had been resurrected. Crack! Crack! The black palm that was sealed in ice gave off a terrifying light. Following this, the ice broke apart and the palm slammed towards him once again. The surrounding world of ice and frost was completely shattered. The Flying Corpse King said, "Iceberg, if this is all you have, I'm afraid you won't be my opponent." As he spoke, boundless aura of death appeared around him. It turned into the law of death and engulfed the surroundings. The law of death condensed and formed a hell. He seemed like a god of hell that had just walked out of hell. His ice-cold gaze also turned gray. It carried an ice-cold aura. It was the eye of death. With a roar, the Flying Corpse King quickly charged forward, turning into a bolt of black lightning. In an instant, it rushed to the front. As he waved his arm, it seemed as if he had turned into a peerless saint artifact. As he waved his arm, the whole world started shattering. Not good. That iceberg is in danger. When Zihong saw this scene, she cried out in alarm. Everyone thought that Xueqi would retreat. After all, she wasn't a match for such a powerful physique. However, what surprised them was that Xueqi didn't retreat at all. She faced the lightning-like Grim Reaper. She also slammed her palm forward. Boom! Boom! Her palm turned into an ice-cold light, and it kept contending with her opponent's physique. When the two of them collided, it was as if 100,000 claps of thunder had erupted. Soon after, the two of them retreated. What's going on? He unexpectedly blocked it. Divine General Qianqing didn't dare to believe this. It must be known that the Flying Corpse King had already refined his physique into a weapon, and its might wasn't any weaker than a Great Sage artifact. In fact, a Great Sage artifact was even more terrifying. This was because it was a weapon that possessed intelligence. This meant that Xueqi wouldn't be able to contend against it unless she also took out a Great Sage artifact. But now, his opponent was able to contend against a Great Sage artifact with just his physique. What kind of physique was this? Was it the Starry Sky Legends physique, or was it the Ancient Desolate physique? He didn't dare to believe this. It seemed like everyone had underestimated his opponent. Lin Xian curled the corners of his mouth into a smile. The Nine Yin Divine physique wasn't any weaker than the Nine Yang Divine physique. It was a powerful physique that could contend against a saint physique. If his opponent was a great emperor who had refined himself into a weapon, no one would be able to contend against him. However, his opponent was just a Great Sage artifact, and he had refined himself into a weapon. Did he want to contend against a divine physique? What kind of joke was this? Just wait and see. These people would soon be stupefied. The Flying Corpse King's expression became ice-cold. Although he was just a corpse, he already had a soul. Although he didn't fear pain, his opponent's ice-cold aura still caused his soul to shiver. It was as if his soul was about to be frozen. Moreover, he discovered that his physique's movements were becoming slower and slower. The ice-cold aura was gathering in his body, and once it reached a certain level, it would explode out and freeze him, turning him into an ice sculpture. He wouldn't be able to escape anymore. Roar! He looked up at the sky and roared like a demon. At this moment, the black aura in his body turned into black flames, which burned unceasingly and incinerated the ice-cold aura. His hands seemed to have turned into the death god's sword, and they carried the aura of wind and lightning as they slashed forward. Xueqi still didn't fear him, and she waved her jade-like hands, causing the whole world to turn into ice and snow. A terrifying ice-cold aura engulfed her opponent. Countless ice-cold swords appeared in the world, and each of them was as big as a palm. They covered the sky and the earth, and they seemed capable of penetrating everything. Both sides exchanged 100 moves, 200 moves, 300 moves. At this moment, Xueqi became braver and braver as she fought, while the Flying Corpse King's movements became slower and slower. In the end, it seemed as if he had become a snail. If his opponent hadn't refined him into a weapon, he would have already died. Chapter 4903. Do you still want to continue? Xueqi asked calmly as she looked at the ice sculpture in front of her. Divine General Qian Chen's expression became unsightly. He didn't expect that his opponent would be so powerful. Even the Flying Corpse King, who had become a great sage, wasn't a match for him. Moreover, if the Flying Corpse King was injured, he wouldn't have enough people to deal with him. Hence, he snorted coldly. Xueqi waved her hand, and the ice melted. The Flying Corpse King walked out. His body was ashen because of the ice. If he had stayed there for a long time, he would have been severely injured. The Flying Corpse King looked at Xueqi with a trace of fear in his eyes. As expected of the legendary Ice Mountain. This time, I lost. However, I will get my revenge in the future. Divine General Hai Yuan walked out and said, "Since this is the case, let's get ready and set off." Everyone took a deep breath. They were going to the Heavenly Court's ruins. They didn't dare to be careless. This was because there might be other mysterious experts besides them. After all, not long ago, news of the Heavenly Court's revival had spread from Taiqing Ancient City. They might even run into the experts left behind by the Heavenly Court this time. Everyone returned to their private rooms and started cultivating. They adjusted their condition to their peak. Xueqi went directly to Lin Xian's private room. Their bodies complemented each other, and they formed a perfect tai chi. Their auras were also increasing rapidly. 3 days later, Lin Xian and Lin Xian opened their eyes with a smile on their faces. He didn't expect that his strength would have a small breakthrough in the past 3 days. It was really surprising. Outside, Divine General Hai Yuan and the others started gathering. A group of people walked out. Damn it! What's going on? When Divine General Qian Qin sensed that Lin Xian and Xue Qi's auras had become more profound, he was stunned. On the other side, Divine General Wind Snow was also surprised. What did those two experience in the past 3 days? It was really too amazing. Divine General Hai Yuan and Big Brother Yun smiled. This was because Lin Xian and Xue Qi were on their side. The stronger they were, the more help they could provide to them. The place where the Heavenly Court ruins appeared this time is still Taiching Ancient City, so we have to teleport there. The group walked into the Sacred Gulf Tower and activated the teleportation array. The 2 ancient cities were passed down from the primordial era. They were extremely ancient, and the distance between the 2 ancient cities was also very far. If they flew, it would take too long, so they teleported directly. After locking on to their location, the formation flickered, and the group vanished from sight. When they reappeared, they were already in the void. They were surrounded by boundless mountains, and there was a black shadow in the distance. It was the Grand Clarity Ancient City. It was the first time for many people to come to Taiching Ancient City because it was already very vast. This Grand Clarity Ancient City was also extraordinary. It was vast and boundless, like a vast world. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Back again. This was equivalent to revisiting an old place. He was very familiar with some of the places. The group of people flew into the distance and quickly entered Taiching Ancient City. At this moment, the ancient city was even more lively than before. Other than them, there were people from other places and even other worlds. It seemed like the news had spread. Divine General Wind Snow frowned. Divine General Hai Yuan also said, "Then we have to speed up. After all, our foundation isn't here. So even if it's an away battle, it's better to collect information first. Leave this matter to us." Divine General Wind Snow smiled. Then, she looked at a person behind her. "Xiao Zhuang, stop sleeping." The figure sitting on the goldfish opened his eyes and said, "I know. Give me a day. At dawn the next day, you will get the information you want." Divine General Wind Snow believed in Xiao Zhuang's ability. Lin Xian and the others were surprised. He felt a mysterious aura from the other party, which should be related to soul power. Moreover, the other party had been sleeping. Could it be related to dreams? Thinking of this, Lin Xian remembered that he had met a person before, the Dream Eater Wolf. This guy had always been very low-key. God knows how many dreams he had devoured. The group of people walked forward and prepared to settle down first. Boom boom. At this moment, a loud sound came from afar. Everyone turned their heads and saw chariots flying across the sky one after another, carrying an extremely terrifying aura. The chariots were also powerhouses, and those demonic beasts were running between heaven and earth. They looked at Lin Xian and shouted coldly, "Get out of the way. Don't block the way." As they spoke, they threw out their palms. At the same time, the demonic beasts pulling the chariots roared at the sky and shot out terrifying lightning. Ha! Divine General Hai Yuan and the others turned their heads, and their faces instantly darkened. Someone dared to attack them. Divine General Wind Snow snorted coldly, and with a flick of his finger, a world of ice and snow appeared in front of him. Its power was even more terrifying than Xue Qi's. It couldn't be helped, as Xue Qi was still a sage king. Divine General Wind Snow was at the late stage of the Great Sage realm, and the gap between their realms was too big. If Xueqi could reach the late stage of the Great Sage realm, her ice power would definitely be more terrifying than that of a Divine General. The magical powers in the sky were frozen, and the pupils of the powerhouse in front of them shrank. He didn't have time to escape, and he, the demonic beasts, and the chariots were all frozen. It wasn't only the first chariot, but it also spread in all directions. Countless people in Taiqing ancient city were shocked, and they looked up. Heavens! That was the chariot of Myriad Transformation sect, right? Someone actually dared to attack it directly. In fact, it was frozen in an instant. Who were these people? Which family and sect did they belong to? When it was the fifth chariot, a cold shout finally came from inside. Terrifying talismans swept between heaven and earth, blocking the ice and snow. At the same time, an old man walked out from inside. I wonder what kind of divine being he is. I'm the Myriad Transformation sect, the Myriad Transformation Saint. The ice and snow between heaven and earth melted, and the law of this old man could dissolve everything. This was the ultimate technique of Myriad Transformation sect. How dare you, Myriad Transformation Gate? You even dare to scold us. Divine General Wind Snow said coldly. Beside him, Peng Wanli also stood out and shouted coldly, "We are from Holy Abyss Ancient City, Holy Abyss Tower." As soon as these words came out, the surrounding people were in an uproar. In front of them, the Myriad Transformation Saint's pupils shrank. How could he not have heard of the other party's name? So, he immediately smiled and said, "So it's a Taoist friend from Holy Abyss Tower. My previous disciple has offended you, and I will punish him. I hope you can forgive him." The others were shocked. The Myriad Transformation Saint was also very famous. The Myriad Transformation Saint art was enough to dissolve everything. Chapter 4904. Divine General Wind Snow said coldly. "Since you have a good attitude, I will spare your life. However, as for the person who attacked, there was no need for him to live." She clenched her fist, and the first war chariot was instantly torn apart. The demonic beasts pulling the chariot, as well as the people inside, instantly disappeared. It was terrifying. Countless people were shocked. As they looked at Divine General Wind Snow, their scalps went numb. The Myriad Transformation Saint Sovereign's expression was gloomy and cold. However, he didn't say anything. Even if he could contend against Divine General Wind Snow, what about the others? He reckoned that the other party had at least 3 people who were as strong as him, or even stronger. He wasn't a match for them, so he could only accept this loss. "Your Excellency, you have a good method. Let's go." As he spoke, he waved his hand and entered the war chariot once again. Then, he flew in another direction. When Zhu Lai saw this, he sneered coldly. "You really don't know life from death." Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Suddenly, a ray of light burst out of his eyes, and he stared at the war chariot. He sensed a familiar aura. The group landed in a manner and started to rest. Lin Xian and Xueqi walked outside. The Divine General didn't stop them, as other people were also preparing to go out and take a look. First, they wanted to scout for information. Moreover, Taiqing Ancient City was also an ancient city, and they might be able to comprehend something new. Lin Xian and Xueqi held hands as they strolled under the setting sun. Soon after, they arrived at a restaurant. They sat down and chatted in a low voice as they looked at the scenery outside the window. The appearance of the two of them attracted the attention of many people. Although there were many experts in Taiqing Ancient City, and there were many of them, the combination of Lin Xian and Xueqi was still too small. It was still too small. Lin Xian's demonic aura filled the sky, and he seemed like a peerless demonic god. As for Xueqi, she was like an ice fairy, and the combination of two completely opposite auras was shocking. It was simply too shocking. However, Lin Xian and Xueqi's auras were both terrifying and ice-cold, so no one dared to disturb them for a while. At this moment, a group of people walked out of the restaurant. They were led by a man, who wore armor, and his aura was also strange and mysterious. The space around him was spinning, and it seemed like it couldn't bear his power. It was the myriad transformations law. Many people cried out in alarm. Under this kind of power, they seemed to be about to transform into the Tao. Therefore, everyone stepped aside. Thousand Transformations' young master walked over with a gloomy expression on his face. Previously, he was actually suppressed by someone. This made him very unhappy. Therefore, he was prepared to find something to be happy about. Suddenly, his eyebrows twitched and he stared at a spot on the floor. The corner of his mouth cracked open and a cold smile appeared. It was them. If he remembered correctly, these people should be from the Holy Abyss Tower in Holy Distant City. Young Master Wanhua narrowed his eyes as he walked forward. Behind him were two old servants. He hadn't observed Xueqi carefully before, but when he saw her now, his eyes lit up. It was rare to see such a peerless beauty. Not to mention, she had the temperament of an iceberg. He walked forward and said, "The two of you meet again." Xueqi glanced at him expressionlessly before she withdrew her gaze. Lin Xian frowned slightly and asked, "Who are you? How dare you?" "This is my family's young master Myriad Transformations." An old servant behind him shouted coldly. His voice was like thunder. The surrounding people cried out in alarm. Young Master Wanhua was a very famous young genius. Lin Xian sneered. Thousand Transformation Sect. Young Master Wanhua. I wonder who is stronger between you and Yunfeixiang? Do you know Yunfeixiang? Young Master Wanhua laughed. Our strength is about the same. In his opinion, since Yunfeixiang knew Yunfeixiang, he should look up to Yunfeixiang. His strength was about the same as Yunfeixiang, so Yunfeixiang should look up to him. Unfortunately, he got it wrong. Lin Xian said, "I see. If you had met me a few years ago, you might have had the strength to fight me. Now? I'm afraid not." Indeed, when Lin Xian was in Taiqing Ancient City, he was a top genius with Yunfeixiang and the others. However, in these years, he had been cultivating in the Holy Abyss Tower, and his strength had advanced by leaps and bounds. Yunfeixiang and the others were probably no longer his match. Young Master Wanhua's face sank. Was Yunfeixiang looking down on him? Although you are from Holy Origin City, I advise you not to be too arrogant. There are always geniuses in this world that you don't understand, so I advise you to take back what you just said. However, Lin Xian ignored him. He said to Xueqi, "Is there any place you want to go in Taiqing Ancient City? If I have time, I will accompany you." "Okay." Xueqi smiled sweetly, revealing a beautiful smile. Young Master Wanhua's face became unsightly. He was standing at the side, but these two people were treating him like air. "Brat, are you challenging me?" He stared at Lin Xian, and his eyes contained a terrifying power. It seemed to be able to turn anyone into Tao. The void where Lin Xian was constantly shattering. He raised his head, and a piercingly cold radiance erupted from his eyes. "What, you want to fight? Your ancestor could only flee in front of us, let alone you." Young Master Wanhua's face was gloomy. He was angry because of this matter. He said coldly, "How can my ancestor be defeated? It's just that you have more people. In a one-on-one fight, which one of you is my ancestor's match?" Today, I want to experience the strength of a genius expert from the Sacred Abyss Tower. How dare you talk big in front of me? He waved his hand, and a wave of law flew out, disintegrating everything around him. Lin Xian didn't care at all. He shot out the light of Demon God, which carried an extremely cold aura. He didn't know whether he was dead or alive. The two old servants behind him sneered. Their all-transformation sacred art was enough to disintegrate everything. No matter how strong the other party was, it wouldn't work. However, they were soon stunned. They found that the light of Demon God blocked the all-transformations law, and it didn't disintegrate. Damn it, what's going on? They were shocked. Lin Xian sneered. How could these people know the power of the great dragon sword soul? His every move carried an aura of nothingness. As long as Lin Xian wanted to, he could even cut open the transformations law. What, do you want to experience it? Lin Xian also stood up, and the demonic aura around his body became even more terrifying. Young Master Wanhua's face was gloomy, and the two old servants behind him were also shocked. They whispered, "Young Master, you're a little strange. Why don't we investigate their background first before making a move? You want me to retreat?" Young Master Wanhua was unwilling. There were so many pairs of eyes watching. If he left now, wouldn't it be too embarrassing? At this moment, exclamations came from outside. A stream of light streaked across, tearing the void apart. Someone exclaimed, "Someone has returned. Quickly go inside and ask for information." For a moment, countless people were in an uproar. Young Master Wanhua's face also changed. He said, "Kid, you're very lucky. I'll let you go this time. Next time, I'll let you know the consequences of offending me." After saying that, he hurriedly left. Chapter 4905. He looked at a person next to him. The person next to him said hurriedly, "You must have come for the Heavenly Court's remains." This time, the Heavenly Court's remains had appeared 4 days ago. They had appeared in the void, causing many large cracks to appear in the void. At that time, some daring people had directly flown into the cracks to explore. Now, it was this group of people who had returned. Lin Xian was surprised when he heard this. Someone had already started to act in advance. He wondered if it was He Shan and the others. "Let's go." He and Xueqi also walked out. Countless people had already gathered outside. Several people appeared in the sky, and 3 of them were injured and covered in blood. Their faces were pale. Someone came to receive them. They asked, "How is it inside? Did you bring anything out?" The 3 of them wanted to say something, but their bodies suddenly split open and turned into blood mist. Their souls were also instantly destroyed. Damn it! The people who came to receive them were also shocked. 2 of them had died together. The others retreated in fright. What kind of power was this? Even if these people managed to escape, they would be instantly destroyed. Damn it! Didn't they get any information? These people gnashed their teeth. Someone said, "Apart from them, there should be 3 other groups. Maybe they can bring some information out." Everyone was waiting anxiously. Night came. Xiao Zhuang opened his eyes. His body turned into countless butterflies and flew into the 9 heavens. Then, he drew a dreamy moon that slowly rotated. The whole Azure City became quiet, as if everything had fallen into a deep sleep. That night, many people had a strange dream. In the dream, they seemed to be enveloped by a divine power. When they opened their eyes the next day, they were so tired that they couldn't even stand up. Damn it! What's going on? What happened last night? Their faces were filled with shock. However, they couldn't find out who had attacked them. The dreamy moon in the sky had already disappeared. Xiao Zhuang walked out again and yawned. He looked at the Snow Wind Divine General and said, "I've found something. A few days ago, in the original space of the Heavenly Court's remains, the void was torn open, and an even more terrifying illusory palace appeared." Everyone guessed that this was another part of the Imperial Court's remains. Back then, quite a few people gathered, and some of them immediately decided to enter. 4 teams entered the area of the spatial rift, and after that, the spatial rift disappeared again. Only the illusion of the Heavenly Court appeared. Everyone was waiting. Yesterday, a group of 3 people came back covered in blood, but before they could say anything, they were killed by the power of a god. Now the others were waiting for the other 3 teams. Hearing this, Divine General Wind Snow and the others nodded. "All right, let's wait then." Now was not the time to make a move. Lin Xian went out again. As he gathered information, he searched for traces of He Shan and the others. However, he didn't find them this time. He didn't know if those people had come or if they were hiding. He was not in a hurry. If it was really the remains of the Heavenly Court, those people from Black Mountain would definitely come again. He waited for another 5 days. A team came out. This person was tall and sturdy, like a fiend god. There were many cracks on his body. It was even surrounded by sacred blood. He walked out and said, "Don't wait, the others are already dead." What? Then the person in front of him was the only hope. Many people were surprised. Some people's eyes flickered, and they secretly wanted to make a move, but they were killed by that person with a palm. 2 great sages secretly moved, but they were pierced by that person's gaze and turned into a bloody mist. The others were horrified. Who was this person? It was too terrifying. At this time, 9 rays of light appeared in the distance, and figures walked over. They rode on auspicious clouds, like immortals. Countless people were surprised. It was the people from the Purple Mansion. After the 9 successors of the Purple Mansion arrived, they respectfully bowed and congratulated the senior on his successful return. Was this person also a Purple Mansion expert? Countless people were shocked. Lin Xian and the others also came. Divine General Wind Snow, Divine General Ocean, and the others frowned. This person's aura was so strong, as if he was with them. Who exactly was he? Lin Xian's pupils constricted. It was him. He was really too shocked. This person was indeed very strong, because he had reached the peak of the great sage, and he was someone from 10,000 years ago. He was the master of the great wilderness. They didn't expect him to enter the ruins of the Heavenly Court. No wonder he could come back alive. This person's strength had definitely reached an extremely terrifying realm. Lin Xian briefly explained the matter, and Divine General Ocean and the others were shocked. Divine General Qian Qin also frowned. "How did you know?" he asked coldly. Lin Xian said. Naturally, it was the information he had gathered. Divine General Wind Snow was surprised. They didn't know about this. It seemed that this mad god had his own channels to gather information. But forget it. Everyone had their own secrets, and they wouldn't ask. What surprised them was that the Purple Mansion would obtain the secrets of the Heavenly Court. This wasn't good news, because the Purple Mansion and the Heavenly Court were sworn enemies. At this time, a woman walked over and said respectfully, "Senior Great Wilderness, the Mansion Lord is very concerned about your safety, so please come back with us." Lin Xian also knew this woman. It was Qin Xiener. He didn't expect her to still be in the prefect, and it seemed that she had become an even more important person. The 9 successors of the Purple Mansion weren't fixed. There were 9 of them, but the people would change. For example, the previous Yao Guang was one of the successors, but after he left, someone would replace him. Before this, Lin Xian had also killed a successor of the Purple Mansion, and the result would be the same. He would quickly make up for it. And Qin Xiener was still one of the 9 successors, which was enough to show that her strength was extremely terrifying in these rumors. Hearing this, the Lord of the Great Wilderness nodded and walked forward. He took a step forward, and a terrifying flame appeared around him, enveloping his entire body. It wanted to burn him to ashes. Not good. Qin Xiener and the other 9 successors' expressions changed drastically. The others' pupils constricted. Even such a terrifying person was going to be killed by the mysterious power of the heavenly court. The Lord of the Great Wilderness seemed to be angry. He roared into the sky, and the power of his body surged in all directions. At the same time, an even more mysterious talisman flashed between his eyebrows, protecting his soul. His legs turned into nothingness, but the flames of the heavenly court were restrained by the talisman of life between his eyebrows. It didn't continue to burn. He snorted coldly and said, "Let's go." His broken body tore through the void and flew in the direction of the Purple Mansion. Qin Xiener and the others quickly followed. The others were also shocked and nervous. He was the only one who could come out alive, and he was also the only one who could bring news out of the heavenly court. If the other party had fallen, then no one would know. However, it seemed that he had a mysterious treasure that could block the terrifying power of the heavenly court. Chapter 4906. Just as everyone thought that the Lord of the Grand Desolation would leave and return to his purple mansion to recover, the void broke open. A fist cut through the ages, blocking his path. At the same time, a vast voice sounded. "Fellow Daoist, please wait. Who are you? How dare you block my path?" The Lord of the Grand Desolation roared. His gaze turned into a peerless blade, causing the entire world to tremble. The endless void was collapsing. However, no one appeared, but the voice sounded again. "Fellow Daoist, you're the only one who came out alive. Do you know what's going on inside?" The surrounding people were shocked. It seemed that this mysterious expert wanted to ask for information about the heavenly court. The Lord of the Grand Desolation snorted. "If you want to know, go and see for yourself." His body rose into the air again. The giant hand in the sky slapped down, shattering the world. "If you don't tell me, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave." The Lord of the Grand Desolation's eyes burst out with cold killing intent, but he didn't make a move because he wasn't in a good state. Although he suppressed the mysterious power of the heavenly court, he didn't completely eliminate it. If he couldn't suppress it and acted rashly, he might be killed by this power. Therefore, he turned around and went in another direction. However, in that direction, a sickle slashed down like a peerless divine blade, blocking his path again. This time, the other party was even more terrifying. He didn't ask any questions and directly attacked, as if he wanted to kill the Lord of the Grand Desolation. Damn it, the Lord of the Grand Desolation was angry. The Divine Realm expert who attacked before also snorted coldly. He only wanted to ask for information, but this person wanted to kill him directly. The two sides started fighting. Neither of them revealed their true forms, but all kinds of terrifying divine abilities appeared and disappeared mysteriously. The void turned into a terrifying abyss, and everyone felt their scalps go numb. Qin Xiener and the others' expressions changed drastically. Now that the Lord of the Grand Desolation was blocked, they had to quickly inform the mansion master. They formed a hand seal and sent the news out. On the other side, the eyes of Divine General Hai Yuan and the others flickered. Should they make a move? Lin Xian was even more surprised. Although the two of them didn't reveal their true forms, he could roughly tell who they were. The person who attacked before had a terrifying aura. He could make the great dragon sword's soul in his body let out a dragon roar, which meant that the first person was a dragon. He was most likely an expert from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty. Then, one of them was directly killed. Needless to say, that person should be someone from the Heavenly Court. At the thought of this, Lin Xian said to the Ocean Abyss Divine General, "Senior, I don't think we should make a move. There are so many people here, why don't we just sit back and reap the benefits?" That was good too. Divine General Hai Yuan nodded. Divine General Wind Snow did not refuse either. On the other hand, Divine General Qian Chen's expression was cold. He wanted to say something, but at that moment, experts arrived from afar. The strong cultivators of the Zifu Palace had arrived. They swept through the 8 wastelands and roared crazily. Who dared to make a move against them? This time, there were quite a few great sage that came, and they directly blocked heaven and earth. Protect the master of the great wilderness. The 2 figures in the sky did not attack again. The second mysterious expert disappeared. The first person to make a move appeared. He said in a clear voice, "I am the Dragon Reflection Master of the 10,000 Dragons Court." When these words were spoken, everyone was in an uproar. 10,000 Dragon Court, that was an emperor clan. Who would have thought that they would appear as well? The faces of the people from the Z government turned cold. So it's a Daoist from the 10,000 Dragon Court. Why are you attacking our people? The Dragon Reflection Master said coldly. He was the only one who came out, so he knew the situation inside. We request to share the information. Otherwise, the 10,000 Dragon Court will use our own methods. I don't think the others will agree to it either. The Dragon Reflection Master looked around. The surrounding people were in a heated discussion. Experts from the remote antiquity families and great sects walked out. The Yi family, Gu family, Light Race, Sacred Sky Race, Pill Cauldron Sect, Serene Cloud Sect, Myriad Transformation Sect, and the surrounding great sects and remote antiquity families all moved out. They also said that good things should be shared. That's right, does the Z government want to take it all for themselves? Damn it! The faces of the experts from the Z government turned ugly. Originally, they wanted to enter stealthily without anyone noticing. If there were treasures that could be used, they would take them. It would not be long before the Heavenly Court was destroyed. It would be best if it disappeared completely. But who would have thought that the news would spread so quickly? Furthermore, the Master of the Great Wilderness was stopped by someone. If they wanted to make a move now, they would have to become enemies with the entire world. They had no choice but to look at the Master of the Great Wilderness. The Master of the Great Wilderness's face turned cold. He waved his hand and took out an ancient storage ring. I don't have any other information. I only brought out a storage ring. I brought out a storage ring from inside. Countless people's eyes turned red. There were definitely rare treasures in there. Let me see. The Dragon Reflection Master said. The Master of the Great Wilderness snorted. There are a total of 13 items inside. I'll let you see them. Then, the Z government will auction them. I won't hide anything. But if you want to get them, you'll have to rely on your abilities. With a wave of his hand, 13 treasures flew out and danced in the air. Countless people opened their eyes wide and memorized them carefully. Lin Xian looked over and realized that there were indeed things inside. In the next moment, the Master of the Great Wilderness kept the 13 treasures and handed the storage ring to the Z government. The auction would begin 3 days later. With that, he said coldly, "You can let me go now." This time, the Dragon Reflection Master did not come, and the others were silent. The Master of the Great Wilderness tore open the void and disappeared. The others stared at the Z government. A woman from the Z government, Elder Yu, walked out. She said, "Everyone, don't be anxious. You have already seen the 13 treasures. When the time comes, there will be no missing items. Everyone, go back and prepare. Without sufficient wealth, it is impossible to obtain such items." Everyone started to contact their respective sects and families. They had to obtain at least one of the 13 treasures. Of course, there were people who did not want to auction. They would not give up their Z government's resources for free. Thus, someone mobilized a group of forces and launched a sneak attack. A total of 7 experts hid in the void and attacked Elder Yu and the rest. Elder Yu sneered. "You dare to go against the Z government? Are you tired of living?" At this moment, the Z government had already recovered for a long time. Thus, they had organized a group of experts. Furthermore, their foundation was extremely terrifying. Other than Elder Yu and the other great sage, there were a few ancient figures. One of them was the 9 Nether Demon King that Lin Xian had seen before. The 7 Extinction Sword King and the Draconic Elephant Force King. These people were extremely terrifying. They were not weaker than the Snow Wind Divine General. In fact, they were even more terrifying. When they attacked, they easily turned the 7 hidden experts into blood mist. Who dared to attack again? Our Z government will exterminate their clans. Exterminate their sects. Elder Yu's cold voice sounded. Chapter 4907. With the Purple Mansion Realm's power displayed, no one dared to make a move. Everyone was gathering their wealth to fight for a Heavenly Quartz relic. The Divine General of the Ocean Abyss and the Divine General of the Snow Wind were also discussing that they would participate in the auction. They had to get one. Lin Xian didn't plan to participate in the auction. After all, there were Divine Generals around, so it didn't matter if he went or not. He planned to go to the place where the Heavenly Quartz relic appeared to take a look. There were many people wandering around that place. After all, everyone wanted to go in and take a look, but no one dared to. Of the 4 teams that went in, only one person came back alive, and that person was a peak great sage. Even someone like that almost died, so it would be even more difficult for others to enter. Could it be that the Heavenly Court was that terrifying? Some young geniuses despaired. Some of the older generation experts said. It wasn't like that. The 4 teams that went in earlier went in through the spatial rifts. They might have been killed by the spatial power after entering. Or it might be the array formation left behind by the Heavenly Court. It might be safer to enter through the main entrance. So that was the case. Some people nodded in understanding. Others said, but it was even harder to enter through the main entrance. This was the Heavenly Court. Apart from the Heavenly Court's people, who could enter? The old man smiled. That was why the previous scene happened. Everyone wanted to get the relevant information. As for the 13 treasures that came out, they were all related to the Heavenly Court. With those treasures, they might be able to enter the Heavenly Court. That was right. Those ancient families and sects all thought so. Therefore, they would at least get one of the 13 treasures. There were even some clans and sects that were prepared to secretly join hands to bid for one. Let's go and take a look. The auction will definitely be earth-shattering. Countless people left the ruins and prepared to go to the auction. However, a figure went in the opposite direction. He floated down from the distance and arrived in the void. He looked up at the sky. There was a dreamlike illusory palace in the sky. The Heavenly Court. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He walked forward. There were some people who stayed behind. When they saw this scene, they exclaimed. Look, who is that person? He wants to enter the Heavenly Court now. It's useless. Who does he think he is? Is he a peak great sage? Moreover, there weren't many spatial rifts left. It was even more dangerous. He would definitely die if he went in. No one was optimistic. At this moment, a voice rang out. Reckless fool, you think you can enter? The Thousand Transformations young master looked at the figure in front of him and sneered. He didn't expect to meet the other party here. Lin Xian stepped into the air and approached the illusion of the heavenly court. He felt an extremely terrifying and mysterious aura obstructing him. He activated the heaven-devouring jar and released an aura. He realized that the mysterious power of the ancient celestial court was weakening. Lin Xian was stunned. From the looks of it, the heaven-devouring great monarch was definitely related to the heavenly court. Perhaps he was a member of the heavenly court in the past. He wondered if Black Mountain could open the door to the heavenly court with the sky lantern in his hand. He guessed that it should be possible. Black Mountain was a member of the heavenly court and cultivated the heavenly court arts. It was a pity that he didn't cultivate it. If he did, he might be able to open the gates of the heavenly court immediately. But with the heaven-devouring jar, Lin Xian would also give it a try. Thinking of this, he continued to walk forward. Although he had the heaven-devouring jar, the illusion of the heavenly court was too terrifying. It was as if it could suppress the heaven and earth. The more he walked forward, the more he felt the pressure. His body felt like it was about to collapse. Lin Xian's demonic aura was monstrous. It shrouded everything and blocked everyone's vision. Then, he took out the heaven-devouring jar and let it float above his head. At the same time, an extremely terrifying golden light shone in his eyes. He activated the heavenly secret god eyes to the extreme. He wanted to see through the universe. His golden eyes were like the eyes of a god. They could see through everything. He realized that there was a majestic palace in the mysterious illusion that extended into the distance. At the front of the palace, there was a heavenly gate. It stood there, unchanging. The power of the gate was extremely terrifying. It was as if it was a natural moat that blocked everyone's path. There was a stone plaque on the heavenly gate. 2 words flew on it, Southern Heaven. Southern Heaven Gate. Lin Xian was shocked. Was this the legendary Southern Heaven Gate? It actually existed in this world. Just as he was about to investigate the Southern Heaven Gate, an extremely powerful suppressive force came and shattered Lin Xian's vision. He took 2 steps back and narrowed his eyes. What a terrifying aura. He didn't expect it to be able to detect the existence of the Southern Heaven Gate. Suddenly, he was stunned. He remembered that when the 13 treasures in his storage ring flew out, there was a token with the words Southern Heaven written on it. Southern Heaven Token, Southern Heaven Gate. Could it be that one could enter the Southern Heaven Gate with the token? Lin Xian was surprised. This seemed to be an incredible piece of news, so he prepared to go back and tell Immortal General Hai Yuan. The others were surprised. This kid was using demonic aura. He was an expert of the demonic path. What was he doing? Did he get the secret of the heavenly court? Some people sneered. Impossible. Some people said that he might have some special methods. After all, he was too close to the illusion of the heavenly court. No one could reach that step. Moreover, he wasn't a peerless expert at all. At this moment, Lin Xian turned around and left. Was he leaving? Countless people exclaimed. He left so decisively. Could it be that he really got some information? Stop right there. With a cold shout, a figure flew out and blocked Lin Xian's path. The Thousand Transformations young master stared ahead and said, Kid, what did you get just now? You again. Lin Xian frowned. I spared your life before, but I didn't expect you to be so reckless. You still dare to appear in front of me. You think I don't dare to kill you? With just you. The 1,000 transformations young master sneered. Tell me what happened just now. What are you hiding? Otherwise, I won't let you go. I think the others won't let you leave either. As his voice fell, several figures appeared in the surroundings, blocking all of Lin Xian's paths of retreat. This scene was so familiar. Previously, there was a peerless expert who stopped the Lord of the Great Desolation. The Lord of the Great Desolation had no choice but to take out his storage ring. Now, the 1,000 transformations young master and the others wanted to imitate the peerless expert and stop Lin Xian. They wanted him to tell them about the demonic aura. Lin Xian stood in the air with his hands behind his back. He looked disdainfully at those figures. Then, he shook his head and sneered. You want to imitate the peerless expert? Far from it. You dare to look down on me. Instantly, someone was angered. Endless flames covered his body, illuminating half the sky. He slashed out flames with his saber. The divine saber descended from the sky. This saber enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian turned his head and stared ahead. He laughed loudly and the demonic aura around him surged. It seems that my name hasn't spread to Grand Clarity Ancient City. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.